Hello, and welcome to Revamped, a rewatch podcast covering my all-time favorite shows and movies. I'm your host, Brandon Alexander.
And I'm your co-host, Courtney Autumn.
Together, we've been journeying through Buffy the Vampire Slayer, patrolling the streets of Sunnydale, but now our path expands beyond the Hellmouth as we continue to follow Buffy's battles and growth.
We also step into the shadowy streets of Los Angeles to join Angel on his quest for redemption and his fight to discover what it truly means to be a champion.
Venture with us through every episode in order as we experience the story from two perspectives, Courtney's first time watch and my seasoned rewatch, doubling down on the themes and moments that shape the Buffyverse.
We'll examine pivotal choices, major story arcs, and explore the deeper layers of each show's continued character growth and development.
All while engaging in conversations and sharing our own authentic thoughts and feelings to what's unfolding before us.
So sharpen your stakes, ready your swords,
and continue to stand with us against the forces of darkness as we journey through the supernatural worlds of Buffy the Vampire Slayer
and Angel.
Let's get into this episode. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Revamped. And on a special holiday, today is not only Sarah Michelle Gellar's birthday, but it's our first annual International Buffy Day. This will be our day going forward. We have a day in the year that we can share, even though Buffy is like all year long. Courtney didn't know this before I came in, but she's like, I kind of knew. I think I saw some stuff, but I'm excited. We're doing that. I was just telling Courtney that this evening, afternoon, wherever you're located, depends on the time truly. But me, Buffy, Sarah, and Tony from All Bronze No Brains and Becoming Buffy, we're all getting together to do a sketch and slay online. Of course, after this airs, this will be like 2 months ago that this occurred and happens. But today we're recording on this day, so I love it because we've been falling in alignment with like all kinds of days when we've been recording that we're like pretty synced up when we recorded episode 3 of Buffy for this season with Chris. Fucking what's it? Oh, it was the 30-year anniversary of Buffy coming out or whatever. So
yeah,
you know, we're in sync. I was like laughing though before coming in here too, whenever I was like on the way to non-Michael's because it wasn't located there anymore. As we were also talking about, which will make sense. I had to go get some colored pencils and sketch stuff. But I was laughing to myself because I was like, damn, I'm kind of sad we're not doing a Buffy episode today. But at the same time, it's the Buffyverse, you know what I mean? So it's, if you're talking to Angel, it directly aligns with Buffy in some way, shape, or form, except this one. So yeah, that being said, today we're here to cover Angel, Season 1, Episode 5.
Room with a View.
And that's RMW/AVUs. Aired November 2nd, 1999, written by Jane Espenson with a little help from David Greenwalt, and directed by Scott McGinnis. Jane Espenson notes that she intended this episode's title to match the format of a classified ad. So this was what I was telling you whenever we did your Slayer at predictions with this episode. They chose to spell it, also real quick in the middle of my sentence and thought, did it come up on Hulu for you as the actual full like words?
It said RM with a V.
Oh, okay. So it said the way. Okay, yes. Gotcha. Cool. Well,
I think so. Or did you say it just had a W?
It's a W /.
Yeah, I think it put with like the whole word. With
they put a little bit of something. So they really trying to confuse people over on Hulu versus the way that this confused.
They're like, let me give them a third way to do it.
But yeah, so the reason I said the way I did last time when we were trying to like breadcrumb you and tell you what it had to do with and stuff like that, which you were pretty accurate as you can probably guess now with the episode, but back in the day, whenever, you know, people grabbed the classifieds to look, you know, where was hiring, where you could find an apartment, things like that. There's these small little brackets that you have to put, you know, your target like description, and Room with a View fit perfectly within that. And then she wanted to spell it like that because she thought that that's how it would be listed in the classified. Because, you know, 1BD, you know, 1BA would probably be like something if someone was looking for a solo place for themselves, you know what I mean? Like the way we see 2BA.
Yes, like one bedroom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they wanted to do this. And, you know, I think Courtney got a lot. Courtney. You're in the show. Cordelia had a lot to view this episode, both internally and externally. Which makes it so fun. And that gets us into the episode. So in this one, when Cordelia finally lands what seems like the perfect apartment at an unbelievably low price, her dream home quickly turns into a nightmare when violent supernatural activity reveals the place is haunted. As the team investigates the building's dark history, Cordelia must confront both a vengeful spirit and her own lingering guilt about who she used to be. Guest stars this episode, we have Beth Grant, my favorite character, Miss Maude Pearson. Except not, but also kind of. We have BJ Porter portraying her son, Dennis Pearson, and Marcus Redmond portraying our demon, Griff. But what did you think of this one? Because I wanted to watch it with you. I completely forgot. I was busy this weekend, and I didn't even text you and be like, bitch, what you doing? We got to watch that.
I know, I forgot to, though,
It's cool.
honestly. And I literally
I
just
know.
started.
I know that we often forget about each other, so.
Yes, all the time, every day, especially when I'm in the shower.
Like Angel, this episode.
Yes. This episode was a lot of fun. Like, I didn't really know what to think, obviously. I can't even remember what I said for Slayer predictions, but I don't know if I was even
You were.
close.
I told you that you
Okay.
said, like, I do believe if I'm not, like, I'm going to paraphrase it in the best way and, like, put words in your mouth instead of my pee. Yeah, you know? Let me stop doing that. I'm always talking about how I want to be with Courtney on this podcast. At the end, we'll be married. You had said, like, I told you it was Cordelia centric, and you were like, oh, okay, so it's yada yada. You're like, is she possibly getting a better place or something like that, or her living situation's changing or something like that? Like Room with a View, where she's coming into like seeing things differently type stuff.
Oh, yes.
You said stuff. You were close.
So I think I was kind of.
You were in the ball
I
field.
think
You threw the.
I think I didn't at all consider what actually happened. I think what I thought maybe was implied is that like Cordelia like meets some dude and he ends up being like a demon, but she's like not seeing it like Buffy was with Parker. And then all of a sudden he's like, hey, move in with me after one date. And she's like, yeah, sure. And then all shit goes south. You know, like I think that's what I was thinking. So it's like I was going kind of in the right direction initially, and then I made a wrong turn somewhere mentally. But yeah, so this was unexpected for me, where like the episode actually went, and I didn't expect any like paranormal theme happening or anything like that. But it was so much fun, and it was so freaking chaotic because it wasn't just like Cordelia being a problem or having problems. It was both at the same time, but then all the other characters are also having their own problems. And then at the end, all of them kind of like mesh together and create this one huge fucking problem at the same time. And
Literally.
yeah, so it's just really funny how it like evolved into that space at the end, and then everything literally is just like turmoil. But I think for the season so far, and I know we're just starting out, but I think it was like the most chaotic episode so far with like all the elements involved. So because it wasn't just like Angel going after some situation or some bad guy or whatever, it was all of the things.
I didn't even think about that. Like, technically, you're right. Everything comes to a head at the wrong time in the space together. Like, the demons are attacking to get Doyle. Like, for whatever reason, they know where they are at Cordelia's apartment, but whatever. Maybe they followed them. I mean, they're tracking people, so obviously they can hunt people down if they're...
And they're even trying to be like nonchalant about what the actual problem. They're like, oh, it's just a ghost.
Literally that. And they found out real quick that that was not just a ghost. That was one pissed off bitch, I'm gonna say, sort of. About her house when it comes to her territory. She was very territorial in a couple of different ways, but I'm gonna save a lot of that conversation towards the end, whenever everything starts, and along the way, obviously, as well.
I'm sure you got a whole thing for metaphor on this one.
A little bit. Somewhat. We'll see. This is one of my favorite episodes of Angel the series. Like, out of all the 5 seasons of Angel, this one always, like, it would have to land really close. Like, and I love it because not only is it, like, you know, Cordelia centered, as we said, and like I wrote my notes that I kind of saw this as the, you know, we've been calling Cordelia the onion since the beginning of our start to this podcast. And now this episode is like she shed so many of those layers across the entirety of that. And now I feel like we kind of get a more fully centered Cordelia in a way. Like it's she got kicked in the ass this episode, and she's been getting kicked in the ass kind of since she moved to LA. And this is her a little bit of comeuppance, and I'm glad she gets her moment in this, like a few different times, but especially by the end. Like I said, we'll talk about some of that stuff later. But I think this is the show's way of recreating Cordelia and helping not only tell who she has been on Buffy for the people that might not watch Buffy, but help to redefine her for this show and the person that she's going to become, whoever that may be, you know?
Yeah.
I also like how Doyle is equal to Cordelia being saved this week, because Angel's trying to save Doyle essentially, and they're trying to save Cordelia. Like, it's wild.
So
He's going through some shit. Cordelia's going through some shit. I love it because Angel's here to clean up everyone else's mess. Like, he's just vibing this episode, except he's not able to. That's Angel this episode. Irritated. I also very much like the storyline though. Like, this is the story itself, not just like I was starting to say in the beginning about Cordelia specifically, but the situation going on. Like, I love this story, and mostly because it's a bait and switch for the episode, you think one thing, you're getting told all these things, and you find out very last second that the story with our people, Miss Maude and her son, are not what we thought it was.
Oh
And
God, no. Yeah.
there's
It's like
there's
plot
layers to
twist.
that onion as well. So I'm like, it all makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
And I like the fact that you even said paranormal, that we get a ghost in this one. Couple ghosts.
Mhm.
Main one, but we end with a ghost, and we get to keep that one around essentially.
I know, I was gonna ask, can you give me a spoiler
We'll
and
talk
tell
about
me
it
if
later.
Dennis is
Um, but we're not dealing with like a classic monster of the week. It's not like demons or vampires that we've been dealing with on the show. Now we're going like touching into the ghost realm. And I always like
Mhm.
that. Good old fashioned ghost is like a fun for me. I absolutely love ghosts.
Mhm. Yeah, I
And I think it's a
agree.
fun way to tell the story too, because you get to like possibly, we do for a second get to dip into the past when you're dealing with ghosts or people that have died, maybe go back to where it was that they died, especially if it was, eons ago and stuff. It's always a fun favorite. I think I'll get to say more along the way whenever we get to going through it. Producer Tim Minear claims that this episode is really all about Cordelia regaining her inner bitch. And I know I already kind of said that with my thing. That's the best way to put this at the end of the day, because not
Mhm.
only does she get to
Yeah.
say, I am still who I am this episode, but I've also, I can acknowledge that I've changed a lot as well. And I don't have to hold myself to a certain degree, or I don't know. I thought about it, and I actually just said this the other day to my therapist. I was like, I feel like old people hold an old narrative in their minds about me that don't really exist with me the same anymore. And I hate that more than anything, whenever people are probably still talking crap about me or saying things that just, one, aren't true anymore. Because I have changed doesn't mean it didn't happen, or it didn't occur, or I didn't do them. Or like on the flip side with them, if I'm the
Mhm.
one not in their life. But the narrative is often like, if they meet people that are like, I'd stay away from Brandon. Like, and I looked at my therapist, I said, would you say that about me? Like, as your, from your interpretation? She goes, absolutely not. And I was like, exactly. I said, and that really irritates me when people hold that false narrative about me. So I think Cordelia
Mhm.
was just carrying that because she has a lot of thoughts to herself, saying like, I used to be this awful person. And since, what happened with my dad, which directly ties back to Buffy and stuff, and how she started to fall, now she's kind of hit her
Yeah.
version of rock bottom. And sometimes it takes rock bottom to really assess kind of who you are as a person, what everything that's going on externally, then that becomes internal for you and your journey moving forward. And that's why I say I think this helps to shape and, if anything, recontort Cordelia into slightly becoming a person that we'll see grow more on the show. Because even though
Mhm.
Angel's, well, I'll say it again later, but even though Angel's separate from Buffy and the show's not about adulthood, Cordelia is still transitioning from Buffy to Angel. And she's very much still on par with the age group that Buffy and them are. So she's just navigating life right now in the same kind of adolescent mindset, just now starting to become a young adult on the show. Now she's interacting
Yeah.
with someone like
Right.
Doyle that's probably in his late 20s or early 30s or something like that. Angel, who's, 264 plus 500 years that he was in that hell dimension during season 2 to 3. It's like whole thing. But I like what we get from Cordelia this episode. So that's a big element of what kind of makes it fun, along with everything else. All right, well, we have nothing else to talk about currently right now, so I guess we can go ahead and get into the episode. When did you watch this, by the way? Okay.
Yesterday.
Did you watch it alone?
Yeah.
All right, great. You're not alone now. Here we go. We open at Angel Investigations, where Cordelia is flabbergastedly complaining to Doyle about not getting a callback for a trash bag commercial. She's like, I love trash bags. This is how I'm going to act. I'm going to do this. Not star in a movie, not be on a TV show. Even like a reality TV show at this point would be cool about these people. Like, that'll make you some money, Angel. He'd be like, nah, I don't need it. You don't have to pay me for this season. Anyways. Apparently
No
she's
way.
been passed over for some hot blonde in a skin-tight catsuit. And I immediately put my notes. I said, well, Cordy, maybe you should have worn your Halloween costume from Buffy season 2 and you could have been competition. Because she was like a great big cat that episode. And also looked hot. The company receives a call. Cordelia conveniently lets go to voicemail as we hear her friend Aura from Sunnydale calling to gossip and catch up. But Cordelia is avoiding having to tell her what a cat trash life she's living herself. Love this so much, and you won't at all think of this, but you get to know it now because I'm going to tell you. Aura is the person from the very first episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. If you flash back in your mind to the scene where the guy that Darla drains in the beginning of the episode gets put in the locker, the extreme dead guy in the locker. Way dead,
Mhm.
totally dead. Okay. Quotes from the episode. Don't y'all love how I know this? And he falls out of the locker, and like those two girls are bitchy, like sounding, walking in. They're like, what kind of name is Buffy anyways? And they're like, hey, Aphrodisia. And they're like, she's like, hey, girl. I'm like, what kind of name is Aphrodisia? Like, the fuck? Hey, Aphrodisiac? Because I'm a yak to your name. But anyways, the girl she's talking to, the mixed girl, is Aura in that episode. who ends up being
Oh,
friends.
okay. I know. I actually can picture
Yeah,
her.
like
Yeah.
she's the one who
Yeah, yeah.
screamed and backed up away from the dead body because it fell out of Aura's locker.
Yeah.
Because that's what she said. Some dead guy fell out of Aura's locker. So this is Aura.
Okay.
I think it's interesting to connect it back to her old life. She was a friend, obviously, of Aura and stuff like that, even though we never saw them interact or she never got another moment on the show. Doyle offers some Stranger Thing nonsense about her staying at his place, and she denies it, heading off for the night. He's like, "You can come stay at my house if you need a night away." And I'm like, boy, he's trying so hard this episode to like
He really
connect with her in a
is.
certain way. This is the best he's gotten so far,
Poor
kind of.
dude.
And honestly, he might have a foot in the door now, a foot in the new apartment because of his guy.
Mhm.
Although I also have to say right now, because I don't think I put it in my notes, his guy seemed awesome at first. His guy did come through with an awesome place, but his guy also came through with the most shitty place that you could ever fucking get in the world when it comes to the stuff that
Agreed.
you can't really see. It,
I don't think I'd be getting anything from that guy,
at
to be
all.
honest with you.
Well, Doyle moves into Angel's office to sit a little too comfortably because he puts his feet up on the desk and you see Angel kind of look at him, but he doesn't tell him to put his feet down. But like Angel's not even lounging back like that. And I'm like, like what?
I literally put in my notes, I was like, LOL at Angel's face when Doyle puts his feet up on his desk. I was like, oh my God.
Doyle asks Angel to give him more info on Cordelia. And Angel goes through a whole slew of Cordelia history for us.
Tell me stuff. What stuff? About Cordelia. Well, I know she can't type or file. Till today, I had some hope regarding the phone. Who's Aura? I think she's one of Cordelia's group. People called them the Cordettes. Bunch of girls from wealthy families. They ruled the high school, decided what was in, who was popular. It was like the Soviet secret police if they cared a lot about shoes.
And she was the richest one of all? Because the way she talks sounds like she had servants made of solid gold or something.
Pretty much. Till her parents lost it all. Rich as the rags.
It's one hell of a come down.
Angel claims she's doing all right as we move over to see her arriving back to her trash apartment that warrants stuck keys, brown tap water, and oh yeah, a shit ton of unexterminated cockroaches as she reaches for the phone to call Doyle. So now you want to call Doyle.
I know, right?
Also, you. I was like, did you not see all those roaches on the floor that you walked when you walked over to the couch? I guess the light was off, but she has to, I don't know why TV shows always have to have people enter into it from the dark and then cut a light on, like in their house. You know what I mean?
I know,
Like,
nobody does that.
most people, I have salt lamps going all the time, so I have at least a little bit of glow. But like even so, I would at least flip the switch to my like overhead light for a second to get to the lamp. I ain't walking through no dark ass home or like some barely lit, like
No,
some
agreed.
street light coming through the windows kind of shit. Like this is always what happens. It happens to Doyle just in a little bit when he meets Griff. Well, I'm like, what is happening? Anyways, so Cordelia
I
walks
know.
across, to the couch in the dark technically, but I'm like, you couldn't feel those roaches under your feet. Because when she looks down at her feet after, a million of them are on the fucking TV screen, she's standing in them essentially. I'm like, girl, I was like, what is this fucking, I don't know. I don't know how to exactly want to put this. So my joke's not going to land because I'm just not thinking about it. But like in the early season of Buffy season 1 again, fun callbacks. Obviously this relates to Cordelia in so many fun ways. But they had the fumigation party at the Bronze where you catch a roach and you like get a free drink back in the day. And I was like thinking to myself, Cordelia needs to collect all these roaches, take them to the Bronze and save them for the next drink night. And she should just buy everyone drinks all night long. So, that was the best way I could think to say it. I fumbled through it. But, either way, jokes aside, I'm also not surprised because you remember Doyle stepped in a bowl of unfinished food on her floor. So I'm like, you're the one
I
that
know.
caused the exterminator to have to come. I don't think it's just the fact that you live in a shitty, crappy apartment complex.
I know. I mean, I'm sure it's not helping, but she's not helping her own kids because you would think like you would want to keep your place clean if you know that there's roaches.
And it's
around.
Cordelia. Like, some of
I
the
know,
stuff
what'd
she's
you do?
been doing anyways. I'm like, girl, there ain't no way. I guess you're not used to having. Maybe they had a servant and a maid in their house and they cleaned up after her. She would just leave cereal bowls and oatmeal and shit on her floor, and the maid would come in and grab it. Like, I don't fucking know. Once again,
Yeah.
Cordelia, fucking grow up. Here's this episode where we can start at least. But I found myself literally busting out laughing though when she like looked at the TV at first and there's one roach on the TV and she's like, picks up the phone to call it, flashes back to the TV, there's like 4. And then at some point it cuts again, there's like 12 on the screen, like crawling all around. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? I want to know if they like individually like stuck and glued those little roaches on the screen or if those were real cockroaches because a couple of them look real crawling around. I'm like,
They just like let a bunch out around her. I
no
would have been freaking
CGI.
out.
She was like, I'm not doing this scene. That's not my feet on the floor for this shot. Jane Espenson came in and was like, all right, I guess I'll do it. Anyway, so over at Doyle's, he arrives home to the phone ringing, but before he can answer it, and after he flips on the light switch, he realizes he's not alone. Now alert when a demon male hybrid of sorts featuring horns welcomes him home with a hello. Of course, this being our demon, Griff. This demon's interesting. They just kind of took a black guy and put horns on him, filled out his face a little bit with a little bit of prosthetics, because he's got them coming out of his chin and out of his forehead. I was like, okay, so he's probably a human demon half-breed, kind of like Doyle, but at the end of, or in the middle of the episode somewhere, he talks to Angel and he's like, why are you protecting half-breeds? I'm like, aren't you technically a half-breed? You look like one. They could have make-uped you out a little bit more, painted you green or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, we fade to black and we cue the Angel theme. Griff's here to collect owed money from Doyle, and after some physical assault in the form of dresser drawer hand slams and dresser drawer head bangs, Doyle flees the scene. AKA, he's got to get the fuck out of there. Because he got out of there quick. He pieces out. Doyle ain't got no problem with hot pop up and going. The second he's got a girl pregnant and the day comes whenever you got to grab the bag that's already pre-packed and head to the hospital, he's already at the hospital. The second he's touched the bag and the girl's like, he didn't take me with him. And he's like, oh yeah, I forgot her at home. Oops.
When you started on that tangent, I thought you were about to be like, the second he gets a girl pregnant, he's running out of town.
Maybe that too. I don't know. I could see it. Either way, angry Griff is chasing behind him. We go back over to Angels. Apparently, he high-key enjoyed Marcus's symphony music from episode 3, because this is the ambiance that he's channeling today. It's not the same song, but it's still some
That's
Mozart
just the next track on the
literally.
same record.
He glued the pieces back together and took
He
it
stole
home.
this.
He's like, what do you want, Angel? Looking at himself in his non-mirror that he doesn't have in his house at all. Anyways, this is being played as ambiance to Out of Sight Angel's hot, steamy jerk sesh in the shower. That's what I thought it was anyways. Interrupted by a knock at the door. Angel runs out, sopping wet, unfortunately wrapping a towel around him, and we all roll our eyes in the best ways. They flutter in the back of their head.
That was the weekly wigs.
No, it was not.
I'm saying that he had to cover his
Oh, actually, lies. That's actually what my note says. Is wrapping a towel around him, and we all roll our eyes while still actively melting. I should have kept reading because I rolled my eyes actually because of the fact that the towel was on him. I'm like, take that off. Why did this script just become softcore porn though? Why is this whole episode kind of softcore porn? If I'm not talking about fucking Angel, I'm talking about fucking you. Goddamn. Regarding Angel's shower scene, Jane Espenson says, I put that scene in there because frankly, I knew there wouldn't be a woman on the planet who wouldn't enjoy seeing David Boreanaz shirtless and dripping wet. Girl, you better include the fucking men too, the trans people, any non-binary motherfuckers,
just
a human being that decides that they like a naked male. Or just appreciation
just
of a body.
Appealing to the eye.
Which clearly this is.
Very much so, yes.
Well, we find it's Cordy at the door. And guess what? She's going to stay with Angel. She's decided. Handing him over bags, she rushes in ranting about how she's reached the lowest of low. Don't even look at her. Oh, and Angel's going to want to get her other suitcase out there in the hall. She goes over and cuts his music off, which I found so funny. She makes herself at home in the sum of 35 seconds. Greeting him at the door and coming
Literally.
in. She's cutting off his music. She doesn't want to hear that. That was the funniest part.
She's also already giving him command.
Literally. She continues, her life sucks. I live in the project's trauma, dumpy, trash, faith-like apartment life. How Doyle doesn't answer in her time of need. Phone calls, that is. And, oh yeah, reminder, she's just going to stay here till she finds a new place, however long that may take. To which, of course, Angel's completely invited over anytime. And she's off to take that shower, steal Angel's bed, and reminder, that suitcase is still out in the hall. That shit was tripping me out. The fact that she said a second time, get my suitcase out the hallway. I'm like, you go out there and get your suitcase out the hallway. What are you talking about? She's talking about too, you can leave my bags on the couch or the bed. I can take that. And then we find out later that Angel's taking the couch.
I know. Oh my God.
This is so Cordelia though. Isn't this typical Cordelia to come in demanding this stuff? She just feels so entitled to everything. I love it because it's a gentle reminder of exactly the kind of energy that she's always been.
Oh, shit.
Also, this is the energy I would expect if I was going through crisis and I just showed up at your house for this to be occurring. Meredith, have fun sleeping with Nix and I'll be with Courtney in here. We always send her and Nix into a room together for this damn podcast /us.
for our needs.
Doyle arrives to the office, heading down to Angel's flat, confused and adding to his already heightened stress levels when he finds freshly showered in-robe Cordelia and scantily robed Angel complaining about the peanut butter that's in his bed. That Cordelia 100% got in there.
No. Angel, and how could you? What? Come on, you know I was crazy about her and I was wearing her down too. But no, handsome, brooding vampire guy has to swoop in, all sensitive mouth and overhanging forehead. How about leaving some scraps for the homely-looking fellas who don't turn evil when they get some? Cordelia stayed over because something's wrong with her.
I know, he literally started panicking.
That shit was funny though, because, well, not funny. I find it interesting that, and I'm thankful actually, not just finding it interesting. I found it interesting looking at it, but I found it thoughtful and I'm full of thanks. I don't know. It's Thanksgiving soon. How do I want to say this? Like, I thought it was interesting, and I was appreciative of the fact that they had Cordelia, who they could have took the time to put her in a scantily robe. You know what I mean? Made her look a little less covered up or something like that. But she's actually in this thickest, like, she's looking like Willow from that episode where she wore the fucking Eskimo fit or whatever. Like, it's that plush and like bundled up on her, very much covering her up, even though she's over there, you know, brushing out her hair and doing all her things after her shower. But then Angel comes walking up and they've got him like again with his silky ass red and black robe, walking up with his damn boxers on and his chest showing. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, I gotta pause this episode and go to the bathroom again. Like, and by the bathroom, I mean my bedside to grab some stuff and then lay in the bed for a little bit and think about Angel.
We know what you mean.
Oh. Okay, anyways, Angel clarifies to Doyle the situation with Cordelia and how she left him at the couch. Cordelia reappears looking timely and clothed as ever as she confirms to Doyle when he asks about people calling looking for him that she indeed did tell someone recently where she could find Jiffy Jolly Doyle. The two argue of slight over Cordelia's inability to deliver informative messages, a continued trait dating back to Buffy Summer Senior Yearbook photos. And Angel calls out Doyle's bruised hand and he lies about how it occurred. I found that so funny because she's like, I was just trying to help you. Like, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, in this type of situation too, anybody at the office, your job technically is to call or let people know when they come in. Like, hey, somebody called like looking for you. Even when I worked at Hair Plus, I used to tell Monique, my favorite person in the world, if someone had stopped by saying, hey, is Monique here or something like that, like I'd describe the person to them or like grab a name or something.
No, she's
like
dead.
Maybe she's a vampire. She'll get slayed on this show. Anyways, never thought her name would come up after a long time. It's been a long time. Shouldn't have left me. That's what she said, but I left Hair Plus. All right, anyways. Today's my anyways episode, apparently. That shit was funny as fuck, though, because she's like not telling Doyle. And I was like, damn, she really does have like this bad history with delivering messages to people, because we definitely remember her doing that to Buffy and not telling her about taking photos. All once again for herself, which was Homecoming was a very Cordelia-centric almost episode too that kind of mirrors this in a weird way, because she gets to stand up for herself, and she stood up to Lyle Gorch at the end of that episode, you know, when Buffy was down and stuff like that, had her moment. So this is it ties back, and I didn't even know I was going to bring that up that way, so here we are. Some time passes to later, finding Doyle commenting on Cordelia cutting up Angel's floor in search of hardwood. She's like, I can't stay here for very long if it's got this linoleum on the floor. I've got to pull it up so he can see this nice, shiny hardwood. She's cutting up his floor. And then she goes upstairs later, because I didn't write it in the dialogue, and she's like, hey, I was just wanting to interrupt really quick to ask if you had some linoleum glue in case some pieces of it started curling up. She's in her cutting his fucking floor.
She's the most invasive guest anyone could ever have. Like, I would be damned if somebody just first off shows up my door like that, but then I find you in my kitchen cutting damn a hole in my floor because you prefer hardwoods. I'm like, bitch, you're leaving now.
Tripped me the fuck out. I was like, oh my freaking God. Poor Angel. He can't have a nice home to save his life. We got Kendra and Buffy tearing up his apartment over on the other show back in the day. Like his mansion even was destroyed in different ways because, you know, getting fights happening occurring. They're smashing through glass, and like there's just always some kind of instance happening on this show, either show, for fucking Angel. I was like, damn, now he's got some bitch in here just cutting up his floor. Okay, cool. Okay, let's see. Hardwood, but that's in the Steamy Angel tub. I wrote a joke in here. I'm not going to leave it in, but I was like, in search of hardwood, but that's in Steamy Angel's towel. The hardwood, you know? Maybe I will leave it in this way. That was in my notes, though. Doyle notes Angel's new trophies, you know, aka Cordelia's. Once again, she's made herself at home. Now she's putting her fucking shit, her notable personal belongings, like on Angel's mantle. which is
know.
technically his cupboard. Like, she's literally setting herself up like, I might be here for a while.
I love how he says it too. He's like, "Oh, I didn't know Angel was queen of the winter ball or
Yeah.
whatever." He said, I was like, "Oh shit."
Um,
He was already getting
but how
mad.
much do you love the callback too, though? Like, this is the main reason I'm bringing this up, because he notices Cordelia's high school diploma is also over there, and he's like, your high school diploma is all burned up, and she's like,
Yeah, it was a rough ceremony.
I was like, I
So
love a
funny.
callback like that. And to graduation, like, and we actually, like, they have the freaking diploma right there. Like, whoever thought we were going to see that? You know what I mean? We thought that was way
That's
behind
so
us. So
true.
it's so fun, but once again, connects Cordelia back to who she used to be and where she comes from. I
Mhm.
like Cordelia's comment also and how it works to frame the theme and symbolize Cordelia when she says, yep, there it is, my whole life, pre-here. 5 trophies with some of the shiny worn off. Specifically, though, like, obviously, though, you know, those trophies, I feel like are a representation of her. It's like she said, that's my whole life. Me
That's all she
pre-here,
has right
yeah.
now.
And she
Yeah.
feels that some of her shine has worn off now that she's reached this
Mhm.
point in her life. Something you almost thought you'd never see when you start to rewatch the beginning of Buffy and go back to old Cordelia too, but we do see how many layers
Of
she's shed
course.
off to
Yeah.
become something new, even if it hasn't held, and in some ways they have. Like, I love it because we hear it again later, but having your shine worn off is very specific, because she says something about, like, I'm losing my shiny apartment or something like that. Like, she feels like she's lost her shine, and that's the metaphor within itself that she's kind of talking about internally. And I guess in this episode we're gonna get her shine back. How Cordelia got her shine back instead of how Stella got her groove. Angel comes downstairs telling Doyle some big guy's looking for him up in the office, heading back up, and Doyle rightly bolts, running off. He said, I gotta get the fuck out of here. He said, ain't no baby on my watch. Only to find Angel waiting for him at the exit he would have taken when he was getting the fuck out of there.
You know, it's not nice to trick people.
You gonna tell me what's going on?
It's so funny when when he initially responds to Angel, he's like, all right, great. I think he says, okay, great. But, you know, to us, that's all right, great. But we know that that is indeed the opposite day use of all right, great. That's when something we didn't want to happen. That's the variant of exactly. Like, that's all right,
Yeah.
great. Like, but he says it so chipper. He's like, all right, like, I'll be right up. And then Angel turns to walk up, and then he's like, like runs across the fucking, like,
I love how Angel's that smart though. Like he knows this guy so
Mhm.
well already that he's like, okay, well, if I want some information, I'm gonna get
I
it.
want to know how Angel kind of knew this, though, because, like, he had sensed Doyle saying about his
I mean, I
hand.
guess it makes sense, you know, like he could tell probably that he was like trying to avoid
Mhm.
or like evade in
Well, didn't he
this
say
case
badminton or
a
something?
situation.
What did he say? He was playing some kind of sport or did something to jam his hand in something.
Yeah.
Like, he banged it
Yeah.
up in some way, shape, or form. But I guess Angel's like, that's a really bad mark. Like, I know you didn't do something stupid. Something clearly happened.
Mhm.
The life that we live, there ain't no way you just was fucking.
That and he probably like I wonder if Angel overheard part of their conversation when he was like kind of coming down on Cordelia about not forewarning him that someone called him and shit like or
Oh,
called to
true.
like find out where his
Yeah,
whereabouts are and then Angel's like, well, who the fuck be looking for you?
for real. I mean, he definitely.
And now you're gonna show up with a bruised
Yeah.
hand. What's that about?
Angel was definitely playing Buffy's game of connect the dots and connecting the pieces of the puzzle for sure. Vampire hearing is perfect for him. He's like, I don't have to be downstairs listening through the wall with a cup. I can hear outside. This forces Doyle to open up and tell Angel about what's going on. Doyle claims he's the helpless this week. Angel needs to help, but Angel hasn't the time to focus on Doyle because he's already on this week's case in the form of bed-stealing, roach-smuggling Cordelia Chase. But offering that he will help find Doyle's demon if he helps find Cordelia an apartment. He's like, get this bitch out of here, please. He's like, help me and I'll help you. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Except by scratching, I mean, I'll kill your demon and you get this bitch the fuck out. Next, we enter the apartment search sequence we find Cordy and Doyle on, navigating initially Cordelia's numerous choices instead of Doyle's guy, including the grosser version of Faith's motel room accompanied by asbestos, another that offers communal toilets and showers, and don't forget the 4 a.m. chanting. You won't, because you'll hear it. And finally, the semi-okay apartment, but unfortunately located across the hall from the greasy superintendent to the complex, who is death-giving, I have the key to come into your home whenever I want, so you will not rest as safely as I told you you would.
Mhm.
AKA, we all know how that story ends. What the fuck? Like they're just bad after the other. I love the little montage of us seeing the different apartments and stuff like that. And the one that she saw with that guy, like it didn't even look that bad, but then that guy made it bad. I was like, ooh, he's like scratching. He's like, yeah, girlie, I got you. I'll be right across the hall. He looks like that motherfucker from Men in Black. That's like sugar water, but almost not. But like heavier set. It's just not cute.
Yes, no, he's giving that energy, though.
100%. We all know how that story ends. So just for funsies, Cordelia brings up the fact that Doyle says he knows a guy. I love that because when they're walking, he's like, I know a guy. She's like, no, I can do this myself. I don't need your people. And then she's like, so about that guy. Okay, now you need help again. Gotcha. Over at Doyle's, Angel checks out his place, getting attacked from behind by Griff before we cut back over to the cutest Casa de Villa spacious apartment that Doyle's guy has come through with. It's perfect. And I don't just say that because Cordelia says it 400 times in the next few sentences / whole episode. This apartment is super cute, is it not? Like this big open fucking window. This is so Cordelia. I love, like I called it like Casa de Villa, spacious apartment because it's got so much space. It's not just an apartment space. It's like a whole ass like loft home. It has so much space and I love space. I just got to jack off to it real quick. But like that open arch is so pretty. That's what I say when things excite me. That open arch is so pretty. Like the setup at the very end when Cordelia is sitting there on the phone, she just looks so at home. Like this place was made for her. Like perfect is the best way to say this. Like I would live here.
Yeah, for
I don't know
sure.
where it's the cutest place I've seen.
I would add some plants, but yeah.
A little life. I do have to point out the realtor lady's false advertisement. She says nothing's wrong with it when Cordelia's asking. Us clearly knowing something is after watching the episode. And you look back and you see her being like, the previous tenant broke the lease, and then pointedly asking, do you think you want it? I was like,
Yeah.
You know suicides have happened in this house, and you're just not saying that. You're not giving way to the fact that people have died here before. And like, as a person, you're supposed to do this. But she's like, the last tenant suddenly left and broke the lease. Like, wonder why. Clearly they had a better outcome just leaving and getting the fuck out of here because they got spooked by the ghost.
With all their furniture, they left.
It
all
must
their
have been a
furniture,
god because
like-
you know Granny wasn't being like, you're stealing my son away, you faggot. Like, I can say that because I'm gay. But that's literally what I thought to myself. I was like, okay, well, y'all are false advertising hardcore. Either way, she's in. Let's get those papers signed. But first, let's talk about how we're going to blow out that wall to open up the space in here. That's one way of finding out if something is in there, I will say. But it's so cute because it's a little foreshadow moment where she's like, first thing I'm going to do is take out this wall. And I'm like, well, if y'all started nailing it down right now, we'd get through this episode a whole lot quicker. You wouldn't have to go through a lot that you do in the next couple of days.
I know, right? And then I wondered, like, by the end, because I was like, was that intuition? Because I know part of her was like, ooh, we need to open the space up. But, you know, I was like, no, I think she knew about that wall. She was right about that wall.
Maybe. I mean, you never know. But obviously, I don't think she does. I think she's just being Cordelia saying, like, how can I reconstruct? Because, you know, she's moving into Angel. She's chiseling up the floor. She's already, how can I make this, like, the one project that I can do in here? I'm like, you're renting this apartment, girl. They are not going to let you blow that wall down. The fuck? You didn't just buy this place. You're renting it for hella cheap. The hell? Anywho, Cordelia loves this place that she keeps calling perfect, and how Doyle's guy is also perfect, and she loves his guy. Now that Doyle's succeeded in his task and Angel's taking care of his, Doyle comments on how everything is pretty sweet. Them exiting and us finding things aren't so sweet as a face appears Freddy Kruegering through the wall like he did in the OG Nightmare on Elm Street before disappearing out of sight. So this is where you find out what the wall has to do with. Like, the comment is super pertinent to this. Like, what did you think of this?
At the time, because I was just feeling bad for Cordelia, you know, like you're just kind of like, she first gets out of this raunchy ass apartment where she finally catches a break and we're happy for her. And like you said, her apartment is beautiful. But then I'm just like, my emotions are all wrapped up because I'm like, Cordelia, first off, that first night when she stayed there,
That we're about to get
I
to?
can't.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I can't. But I will say, I'm really glad to see how she handled it because I feel like her experience back home did not go in vain. And you see that scattered all throughout the episode,
Sure.
you know, where like, I think the rest of us would be reacting totally different in this moment. And we would be like, I don't care how beautiful this apartment is. We're going to get the fuck out of here. And I don't care the backstory.
That's my
I
favorite
don't care
quote.
nothing. Yeah.
I'm all about an Irish goodbye.
Seriously. So yeah, I don't know. That's that.
Okay, so more so what I meant, like when the head pressed through the wall and you saw the shape take form and like the effect. Just in general, this is the moment
Well,
where
I
you're
didn't
like,
know
oh
at the
shit, there's something
time.
here. Like, what is this? Like, what was
Yeah,
your mind turning?
I didn't get like a ghost thing initially. I thought more so like a demon that was like
Was
living in the wall,
hmm
or like, something that could be more tangible, like as far as physically attacking
right?
you, or like something you can see and all these other things. So of course you're just, I don't know, you're thinking all kinds of things because this is the show that we're on where it could be literally
Yeah.
anything. So the ghost would be like the most normal occurrence because in real life we have paranormal activity. You know
hmm
what I mean? It's not like that where there's a face coming through the
Yeah,
wall
yeah, yeah, yeah.
usually. Um, so yeah, I just felt bad for Cordelia because she just finds this place, and now it's just like reminder after reminder that kind of she's in this era of bad luck, it seems, and she just can't catch a fucking
Literally
break.
though.
And you're just like, okay, great. Well, of course, something's wrong. And
That's what always
great,
kind of
great for
that's what always
Cordelia.
kind of hits me in this moment is like, fuck, man, she's got this new place, of course, something like this new nice place. I said this news place, but that makes sense for later too, actually. Freudian slip / me doing that gruel thing from Mean Girls. You see it come through the wall and you're like, oh shit, like damn, that's fucked up. Like, of course, like why can't you just let her have it and y'all deal with Doyle's demons this episode or something like that? Like Cordelia have something,
I
but
know.
clearly I like the rest
I
of it.
feel like the energy is all throughout the show like that, though, because it kind of starts subtly when she starts being an inconvenience toward
Yeah,
Angel, and you kind of start feeling the same remorse for Angel, where you're like, God, like you just said earlier, he can't have a nice place to save his life, whether it's a
right.
demon experience, a vampire experience, a normal person like Cordelia. No one can have anything nice in this episode, so then it just ripples over and doubles down on Cordelia just when you get kind of like a little bit of relief
Mm,
for her, where you're like, okay, finally one problem in the episode is solved.
you would think.
It's
Angel's
not.
problem, but of course we gotta shit on him this whole episode because he can't have it. It can't be easy for him, as always. I really like the effect. Just to touch base on it, I know in my notes I wrote down, but it's Freddy Kruegering through the wall because of the effect that
Yes.
they have going on here. It's very much whenever he's over the bed atop of Nancy or whatever, and he's like melding through it. They remake that scene in the
Yes.
remake, I believe. I want to say that there might be something similar to this in like the not paranormal activity. That's our time. God, what am I thinking? What's the iconic movie that I can't think with the little girl in front of the TV screen?
The Ring.
No.
Grudge. I
Okay,
don't
those
know.
are just long black-haired bitches. But yes, The Ring does deal with a TV and a girl coming out of it. Oh my God, this is so sad right now. It's like one of the most iconic fucking 80s ghost movies.
Oh, it's older than that. Okay.
80s. Poltergeist. Fuck. Like,
Oh
I
my
don't know
God.
why that
Yes.
was just, it
Okay.
just, the words would not come into my head, even though we're dealing with a fucking poltergeist. It's because we're talking about paranormal
Literally.
and like these things like that. And I got myself off on a thing. But yeah, I don't know if they do something similar to that in the movie, but I would assume that like everything kind of like goes in blur. I don't know how I'm talking about this. I don't want to talk about it anymore. But I like the little callback and like how they do the horror adjacent imagery with like something like
Hmm.
that, just because I'm like, oh, that's totally Freddy Krueger. And obviously we love him. He's our best friend.
Yes.
Back with Angel, he vamps out to fend off Griff. Of course, here's where we learn his name. After Angel slams him into the wall a few times, asking about it repeatedly. He's like, who are you? Bam. Who are you? Bam. And I'm like, the guy's like not coming back with it. I was like, it's giving Willow breaking those fingers in doppelgangland. Like, who do you work for? Who do you work for? Vampire Willow, anyways. Griff spills the story of the bounty that Doyle owes, one in the form of his head, because it's going to serve as a message for other borrowers, along with his confusion on why a vampire is helping a half-breed. Angel isn't worried about that, though. He just wants it known that Doyle is to be left alone, and the loan sharks will get their money. Or he can go ahead and whoop up Griff's ass and call it a night. The demon agrees to the terms, though. I think it's so sexy. Not just sexy, but like Angel appearing so confident right here to like concretely deliver this threat with conviction, knowing that like he's gonna come out the victor essentially. Like that's one peak champion to me. But like the intimidation factor that he has, because the guy calls me, he's like, you're a vampire, why are you helping fucking half-breeds? Because he's like, did I see what I see correctly?
Well, he's probably like, how do you have a soul enough to give a shit? You know what I mean? Like
100% that
too.
too, yeah. But like he knows he's up against somebody that's like got some force behind him now, even though they I would assume they kind of know that Doyle is less capable of handling and taking care of himself. Like we know if they got Doyle, Doyle's dead. You know what I mean? If they get Angel, they're gonna at least
Yeah.
have some struggle. Like they might still kill Angel,
Mhm.
but they gonna have some struggle. He ain't going down without a fight, quite literally. Doyle gonna be pulled up and beat to death and dead in 2 seconds.
With
He
no
ain't got
remorse.
worry about them kids he went out for milk and left. Like, he's dead. Thankfully, it doesn't happen though. But I don't know. I really like that's not what everything I was saying about, but I really like the moment because I had forgotten that Angel has this little uh intimidation factor to him that he can be like, you might want to think twice about what you're doing because basically he was bucking up at this dude, and this dude like was like, all right, I'm gonna go get some of my friends. I'll come back. He said, I'm alive through my teeth right now, my demon teeth, alive through my horns. Back over at Cordelia's, we found her calm and cozy in her bed. Courtney's favorite scene. As our score cues in, love the score, just to say, like, it's a creepy, dead silence, 50s jingle jangle kind of shit. Like, the music's very eerie, but it holds a certain kind of energy. It almost reminds me a little bit of like American Horror Story Freak Show. It carries those, like I said, of the era kind of vibes too. Like, you would hear this in a horror movie, like in the 60s or 50s, something like that, versus like how they make music nowadays and stuff. Well, it's haunting time. The radio comes on by itself and changes the station to pick up frequency of an old-timey song playing, which I love because that song comes back on later and you're like, oh, that's why that song was playing. And I like that too, just to say for the effect. And then you think about it with a ghost, you know that song's not playing on the radio. She like tuned into some kind of frequency, whether that be through time and space, and created for that song to come on. Because it's not like a CD player she can just press Do You Believe in Love After Love on, you know? Like, it's not that at all. Drawers start being opened and searched by an unseen force. I'm like, she going through Cordelia's panty drawer right now? The fuck? I'm like, is this Dennis? Which I also actually have to call back really quickly in the middle of my freaking sentences, as I always do. Whenever that head come through the wall and stuff that we were talking about, do you think that was Dennis from behind the wall? Like, making himself kind of known? Because obviously that's where he's where he's at. I don't think that was Maude during that part. You know what I mean? Like,
I agree. Yeah, I didn't
this
really
is Maude
think
doing
about
all
that.
this shit right now, obviously, in the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
That's the one time I guess it's letting us know that there's some other
Oh,
ghost here
God.
too for later. Like, and it relates to the wall. If it's about the wall, I'm assuming that that's Dennis that did that. He was trying to like say, hey, look at me,
Yeah.
help me type
You're
stuff.
probably right, too, because there's no other like breadcrumb in there until everything is tied together at the end when you realize that there's even something wrong with the wall to
Yeah.
begin with, you know, because if this lady, if it's just her spirit, then what would the wall have to do with that? So she's clearly out and about fucking with Cordelia,
Yeah.
you know, like everywhere in the apartment.
I'm gonna add to that in a second, but anyway, she's opening up the drawers, and then the unseen voice, which we know is Maude at this point, begins to whisper, "What do you think you're doing here? You never should have come." That's my way of impersonating Maude this episode. And then the drawer slams shut, and Cordelia wakes up in a gas, confused. This episode, every time I watch it, I'm a huge fan of the movie Stir of Echoes. We've talked about it on the podcast in the past, that movie with Kevin Bacon where the girl gets killed. And
Yes, I love that
It's one of my
movie.
favorites. We have to do it and cover it for the podcast. I think I said that the last time. But
Yeah, I've never actually talked to anyone else who even like knows about it or like, and I'm like, what do you mean? I have it. There's like weird parts of it embedded in my brain.
Yeah,
for some
I watched
reason
it way
that I
too
can't let
young.
go of.
But that movie,
I know, me too. I think I have
love the
PTSD
freaking
from
story of that movie. And that's another reason, actually, why I like this episode so much, because it very much feels Stir of Echoes. And I think this came out after Stir of Echoes, I'm pretty sure was. Stir of Echoes was released September 10th, 1999. And I said, this one's like November 2nd. So the movie had already come out and stuff like that. So I wonder if anybody had seen this and kind of like put the little twist on the person on the wall because of having seen that, you know? Regardless, it makes me very much enjoy this episode more because I really fucking love that movie. Like, I rewatch it at least once every few years or so because it's that good. And it's compelling. Like you said, or I said earlier, it's like a bait and switch. We don't know what's going on with the ghosts in that movie and what's happening. We don't even know that for a long time that she's in the wall. And then Kevin Bacon's like digging up the fucking backyard, chiseling through, and eventually he goes down into the basement and finds her body in the fucking wall. And we get the flashback to her story, just like we get in this episode. Like, so it would surprise me if they didn't pull from that because it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Over at Angel Investigations, Doyle has been told that he has to pay the debt by Angel, or else his head, as for Minch, will be what's the payment. Because, you know, they're way past money. I like how Angel says that. He's like, Doyle, they were past wanting the money now. They were literally coming for your head on a pike. Like, they were going to kill you. Like, that's got to make that situation way more real for fucking Doyle. Doyle and Angel discuss his choice to live this way, Doyle relating to Angel in that way, and Angel clarifying that this path picked him, whereas Doyle can decide to live better for himself. I was like, damn, Angel coming through with all this stuff that he's been telling these girls the last few episodes. Now he's trying over here to tell Doyle some fucking wisdomatic type shit. Doyle voices that his life isn't all doom. It has Cordelia offering the brighter moments. Technically says gloom, which makes sense for the brighter moments, but I spelt doom because that's what this spells for him. The D is not just for Doyle, it's for doom. He notes that he's smitten with her and the fact that she's so obsessed with her new place and is going to be grateful to him for a long, long time. Cutscene transition magic to Cordelia shutting off the music as scratching noises are heard. She is not going to be happy about this for a long time. Her lights won't come on and her glass of water starts to freaking boil. That was insane. I was like, okay, so you can't get your lights on. You're hearing scratching noises and your dresser door slams shut. You're immediately going for your glass of water that's by your bedside. Like, I'm going to get up and figure out why my light won't come on first. I ain't thirsty all of a sudden. Unless I smoked the blunt before bed and my fucking mouth is chapped up, like, and I got dry mouth, like, the hell. The score cues back in as her bed begins to levitate with her still in it, as she calls out that she knew this was too damn good to be true. Her yelling out that she's from Sunnydale, they're not scaring her, clearly scared shitless. She's like, the whole night she's going, I'm not scared. I'm not. Girl, you ain't convincing nobody because that bed stays floating all fucking night long with you in it. So, no. The night passes to morning where Cordy is seen, as I said, still floating and levitating in the bed, rocking herself back and forth. And it eventually crashes to the floor because, sun's up. She's like, I can't. Ghosts always seem to always want to like haunt you at nighttime. As soon as the sun comes back up, they're like, well, we'll chill out for the daytime. Like, we'll be back. We'll be back at 8 p.m.
I know.
Well, we're in LA. We'll be back at 6:10. Because, sunset's like at 4:15 there. No matter the time of year. She apparently just goes on about her bright, shining morning also, like where nothing is bad here. Like in the mirror, she's, affirming to herself and also being like, giving the vibes of this is going to be a great day. Like, I'm going to put this past me. That I'm going to pretend that this did not just happen. Whereas, like you said earlier, Courtney, you're like, any right-minded person would literally be like, I got to leave.
I know.
Like, I get it, but she wants this place so bad. And it makes sense later in her, what she chooses to say, like
Yes,
with
yeah.
pure conviction there as well. And I'm just like, girl, I would still leave. And no place is worth this kind of danger. Clearly something awful's happening, but it being someone like Cordelia, she thinks, probably to herself a little bit, or at least I would, being, the girl from Sunnydale specifically. Well, if something keeps happening like this, I'll tell my friends and we can exorcise it if it's a ghost, or it may be something wacky is going on and we can figure it out, whatever it is. We're the most capable type of people to handle this situation. So maybe I'll just let it play out a little bit and see how bad it gets. She didn't know how bad it was going to get. Well, no. This is not going to be a great day, Cordelia, because we see, I love how she does the shot. She opens the medicine cabinet, like with the mirror in front of her bathroom sink to like grab something. And when she closes it, fucking Maude is standing behind her. Of course, Cordelia is looking down, like, grabbing her fucking anxiety meds or whatever the hell she's getting for the day, or her Adderall. I don't believe Cordelia takes Adderall, actually. I don't think she is ADD either.
I don't think she needs
At all.
to.
She needs a Klonopin. No, animal tranquilizers. Just kidding. But I love it because we get the shot of the dead old woman. Like, whenever that camera spun around, we finally see Maude, where you're like, oh shit, like this old damn ghost lady. Like,
How about I knew that moment was going to come, because how about they've done this 1,000 times? Did this originate in the 90s where like the classic, like you close the
Had to
mirror
have.
or your medicine cabinet and then there's like someone there, And I was like, as soon as she was standing there and I was like, I know we're about to see
horror
something.
loves a jump scare, and that's what I love. Again, like I said, it's paying homage to like horror tropes and things that happen in them typically.
Totally.
Um,
I didn't expect her to look as crusty dusty as she did.
I was just about to say, because like when we flash back to when she died in the 50s, her hair's still brunette. She has a nice pinup. Right here, her hair's like, she's ghastly and like wearing all blue, and her skin kind of looks grayish pale and blue, and her hair kind of has that. She literally looks like a poltergeist, like an iconic one. If you saw a painting of one, they would always have the wispy blue colors with the whites and foggies and things like that. Very iridescent, translucent, kind of like the ghost kids from Coraline or any other kind of cartoonish version that you'd see. This is kind of her, but I'm like, girl, you weren't even that old. I was like, you've still been aging since you've been dead? Because you knew, like,
I know. I'm like,
I don't know. Clearly, she wasn't used retinol in her 30s. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
I'm all about that. So
She said it was before Botox.
I'm surprised Cordelia didn't even say. I mean, she said something later, but never mind. I think that's when she actually first sees her. So we'll just put it that way. Maybe I'll make the joke later if it comes back up. Either way, I love this whole next sequence with the ghost, because Cordelia walks out into the her main foyer, and she like moves the chair, and then it like slides itself back, and she all moves that out again. It fucking slams into the wall, and the way she jumps back and shit like that, and The curtain cord winds up across Cordelia's leg, and like the ghost is clearly there at this point. You're like, there's no denying it. Cordelia just left the bathroom saying that it's gonna be a good day. I'm gonna ignore this. And she said, you thought, bitch. Like, no.
Yeah.
And again,
wrong.
like, this is also kind of funny because I mean, a little bit's happening right here, but I've said that ghosts don't really do the activity during the daytime, but Maude said, I'm up at all hours. I don't have to sleep anymore. So here we are.
That's why she aging while she's
She's
dead,
working so
because
hard.
she's not getting
Yep.
any sleep.
Cordelia starts yelling, like, fuck off and go towards the light, only eventually to be spooked by Angel knocking at the door, which is so comedic to like end this time. She's like, I'm not scared again or whatever. And then all of a sudden the door knocks. She's like, ah! Like, everything goes back silent though. Like the wind stops and all of that. She answers the door, but doesn't want to let Angel and Doyle in just yet, even though Angel's brought the cutest little cactus plant as a gift. I thought that was so sweet. I was like, look at him. But also, why do people bring you the littlest damn cactus? Like, I need you to bring me a fucking hanging pothos if you come to my house, or like an orchid or something. Like, the fuck you bring this teeny Angel?
Brandon said bring the whole
Please,
nursery.
it's something. Like, this ain't even part of the nursery. This is something you found outside the road. What the hell? I'm just kidding. I just don't really care for cactus that much. My name is not Taylor Dangerfield. Doyle comes right in anyway, and so does Angel, because he was invited earlier, which I love that little callback to this. Even the moment right here where she's like, wait, how did you? And he's like, well, you told me earlier. And she's like, what the fuck? Where she's like, what are the rules at this point? But I mean, you clearly said it. You are welcome to my new place anytime, specifically talking about the next place that she lives in. So it's kind of interesting to see where the lore stretches a little bit in the vampire world. Like, if you pre-invite them somewhere, then technically they can come in without you having to invite them at the threshold. I didn't never think about that.
I didn't either. And I like how she was like, the rules are unfair or
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
She said,
Well, Cordelia is a bit stressed, understandably, about them being there, and rightly so, since she's about as good with the scissors as we are. And by she, I mean Maude, sending them chomping towards Angel as Cordelia covers them up quick by catching them. And by we, I mean me and Courtney, because we clearly know how to snip you out of our lives. And me for real, too, because I know how to cut hair. Courtney knows how to cut paper. She over here all the time making photos and things and little collages and shit. Like, she cuts labels 24/7, girl. She had that business. Y'all need to go check out Boho Luna. This is the mandatory shout out. I got to put it in the show notes. This episode is crazy, but this is the funnest type of episode to record because all kinds of crazy shit just comes out. Okay, the scissor thing happened. Eventually, the charade doesn't last, and she has to inform them of what's going on. And by she, I mean Maude again, because she's writing die on the fucking wall with dripping boiling blood.
Cordelia threw him out. Maybe she's not done and she's saying diet.
A little harsh, but or a little judgmental. I don't remember what she says, but I was like, Cordelia, the red flags are all over you. And she's like, they're all green, I promise. She
said they're not done coloring them green. They just look red.
She's like, y'all need to get your eyes checked. Fucking die. Angel's talking about, no, I know about blood written on the wall. Like, I promise you this is not good, because that's what I do to scare people. Remember when he wrote, was it good for you too? On Jenny Calendar's little uncle or whatever that he slayed and killed up in the fucking hotel room. Cordelia is frantic and does not want to give up this apartment as Angel coerces her out of there. Doyle suggests that they can cleanse the home and maybe get rid of the ghost. Great idea. And then they finally pull Cordelia away from it as she screams back into the home, listen, Casper, you haven't won a thing. I'll die before I give up this apartment. And then they're dragging her. She's like, I'll die. Like, as you hear her around the corner still screaming, I'll die. And us being left alone in the room of the apartment as Maude's voice very gracefully says,
All right, dear, if that's what you think is best.
oh, fuck. I was like, well, she sounds really nice. Earlier, she's like, what are you doing? Get out of me. Except she doesn't really sound like that, but I thought it was so fun. She's chipper. And it's a fun little play on this, too. She's like, okay, well, I'll kill you if you need me to. I got you, boo. Over at AI, they do searches about the complex and its previous tenants. Angel reminding Cordy it's just a place that she can move somewhere else, but Cordelia is strongly against it. This place represents something to her. If it's taken from her, it's like she's still getting punished. I had to put the pause because that's what she does. For how she was, everything that she said in high school because she could get away with it, and how it all ended and how she had to pay. This poor girl then affirms her belief in this place giving her status meaning again, like she couldn't be that awful if she got to have this nice home for herself. Mirroring herself to Angel, because you know how he used to have that mansion in Sunnydale. And in hindsight, maybe this is actually relatable to redemption. I like how, one, she mirrors herself to Angel, and then Angel's like, oh yeah, because of the redemption. And she's like, no, because of that awesome mansion. Like I said, in hindsight, it's relatable to redemption, because this is kind of like Cordelia's redemptive arc in a way for herself, like for her own emotional status, because we didn't really understand that Cordelia was feeling this bad about this. You know what I mean? Like we knew, but we didn't know, if that makes sense to say that way.
Of
And
course.
the
Yeah.
vulnerability that comes through right here, especially with Charisma's acting and stuff, like she got charisma. I understand why her name's that. But Cordelia, I feel so bad for her right here, because of her saying, I feel like I'm getting punished because of the bitch that I always fucking was. And I was the bitch in the wrong way. You can be a bitch in a good way. Like, truly. There's a way, I promise. I know, because I know all the variations of bitch. So does Courtney, clearly. But it's a really cool scene and stuff like that.
Obviously, you start feeling bad for her because you assume, I think, more so than you know up until this point, that she's got to be feeling these kinds of things just based on like how her life has been unfolding since high school ended. And you can tell by how like she reminisces on her things, setting out her trophies right away and like all these other things. You can tell like this chapter is kind of what defines her as a person as of now, and everything that's happened since then, since being in LA, has been a difficult time and a struggle for her to adapt to and just kind of find her footing altogether. And it seems like one slap in the face after the other for Cordelia. So for her to kind of like acknowledge it out loud and us get to see that more softer, vulnerable side to her, like you were saying, was kind of refreshing, because then you get to see that she does have a level of like self-awareness that you aren't really used to her expressing out loud, even if we see her going through these motions because it's easy to assume someone's hard on themselves, when they're going through this chapter, but to acknowledge it out loud, I think makes it a little bit different and like a little more real, because then you are being vulnerable and you are in a place where you're like, okay, you're kind of surrendering to the circumstances in a way by acknowledging them and saying,
Yeah.
what what to do from here, kind of
Absolutely.
thing.
She's
Like,
definitely surrendering to the universe and trusting her inner guide. For her to manifest
and
a
hopefully,
magic.
and hopefully manifesting a magical as
No, a
fuck life.
magical as fuck apartment. Ghost free.
Or not.
Or not. All right, back in the episode, Doyle finds out the info about the lady that owned the complex, Maude Pearson, our favorite person ever, also having resided there in Cordelia's apartment and having died of heart attack in it at the ripe violets and aspercream age of 57. They find a not-so-easy bile-requiring spell to cleanse the home, and Doyle's off to gather the ingredients while Angel checks in with Kate to find more info if he can. Cordy stays behind, eventually later receiving a call from Angel to meet her at the apartment so they can end this whole thing. She agrees, heading there, lured to her bedroom by Angel's voice once arriving. But not, because it's been the ghost who appears to her, finally showing us that she knows how to voice change or some shit. Like, I didn't know ghosts could do this. I know spirits in the Appalachia can like mirror your voice, or like skinwalkers can supposedly do this type of shit, but this bitch ain't even got skin. She's incorporeal. What? How are you? Does she hear Angel?
How are you even making a phone call? How do you know the number to
Well,
AI?
ghosts can transmit through like electricity and stuff like that because they're part of another world. So technically that works, because Casper did it in the movie, like zips to the zip line and like moves all the way over to from the live stream that's happening to like what the fuck is her name? Kerrigan's place, and puts it on her thing and then wheels the TV up behind her while she's trying to get ready. She's like on the phone talking about whip staff and shit and all this other stuff. I love Casper. I love ghosts. If you guys didn't already get that. Either way, it was giving that. I don't really know how she does the voice changer, but I guess it's an element that she can do, and obviously it serves purpose. How convenient. Cordelia attempts to flee, but is thrown back by an invisible force, or, the ghost. And the ghost appears spouting off at the mouth about how Cordy doesn't fit in here, and how she just wouldn't leave her son alone. Cordelia confused by the remark. I thought that was so interesting the first time I watched this. I was like, what the fuck has son got to do with this? Like, is this lady, like, did she go crazy out of her mind in this place before she died, and she's, like, senile or something? Like, I thought that happened way later in life, not in her 50s. The hell? Flashing us over back to Angel with Kate, who has helped narrow down some more info on the death of Maude, noting in the initial investigation that there were issues with the son living with her, Dennis Pearson, and how they argued a lot about a girl, his fiancée, that Mom didn't like, and it being recorded that Dennis skipped town with her the day that Mom drops dead. Cops never caught him. End of story. Angel's gears are turning, leading them to search suicides in the home, and there's a slew of them over the years since. Angel moves to call Cordelia at the office, only to find Doyle answering, claiming she's not there, and then the two listen to the message that Angel definitely did not leave on that answering machine. Angel's like, that's not my voice, and Doyle's like, it kind of sounds like your voice, dude. I love how they come in here too. Like, one, we're bringing the little flair of Kate this episode. You know what I mean? We've been seeing her as she's in the show. She's not like a crazy character or anything like that, but she's here. And like a good way for Angel to source out stuff. I'm like, if deaths are happening in the place, like, you don't have to physically search the keyword suicide. Like, any death is a death. Like, suicide is death. It means you were dead.
I
Like, so
know.
I don't get some of that.
Because there would be a death certificate. So,
So
like,
that's what I mean by
I
I
don't
found it
know.
interesting. I'm
Yeah.
like, what is happening? Like, there would be y'all would have been able to find this a lot quicker, but apparently cops in here are deeply stupid and didn't track the stuff the right way. I don't know, or they wrote it off really quick and it was just like out of sight, out of mind for whatever reason. Back at Cordy's, the ghost is belittling her no matter what trampy name she has. She's like, I don't know who you are. I'm Cordelia. And she's like, I don't care. You're a tramp. Cordelia tries to claim her agency, but the ghost continues to bring the positive vibes down and starts to convince Cordelia that she doesn't deserve to live here, or at all. On the way, Angel informs Doyle of the ghost sitch and the truth about how the son killed her, claiming this must be why she's full of rage and can't rest until the truth comes out. Boy, is that the truth. I mean, like, not the first part of that, but the rest of the part about, resting when the truth comes out, because the truth is going to come out. Along this part, though, I guess maybe for us to, like, go along the episode with you, did you, like, think you had the story at this point? You're like, oh, she's pissed off because her son left her, and that's where she's saying, like, something about her son and stuff like that. Like, were any of that kind of, like, connecting with you in a weird way, or?
I mean, yeah, of course, that was, like, kind of what I was going with, and then I got confused again because somewhere along the way it was like, oh, well, then the son, like, the whole thing looked suspicious, but the son was missing or something, or, like, he hit the road or disappeared or whatever the case was that they said, but it was like, that makes no sense,
Doesn't
because
really.
initially I was like, clearly she's having grievances with her son, but why then would he just choose to be like, all right, fuck you, I'm gonna kill
Yeah,
you?
well, I mean, I could
You
see
know?
that happening if it's like they're arguing or whatever
I mean,
reason.
I can see it having in like a heated
My
exchange, but then I didn't understand. So the only thing I'm missing here is the girl in
Exactly. That's
question,
that's my
you
point. It's
know?
like they say that he left town with the girl. Like, where's the girl then? She obviously didn't kill her. So, like, where was the girl that
Yeah.
you could, like, did y'all not know who he was dating? You couldn't ask around. I mean, I know it's the 50s, so maybe things are just, like, not as talked about because it's smaller town vibes back then,
It'd be funnier. It'd be funny if at the end we found out that, like, the son was just getting tired of his mom being like a helicopter mom, so he made up a whole ass girlfriend so he could move out of the house and she never even existed. So his mom basically, like, lost her mind for nothing.
And then killed her son for nothing. Holy fuck. The hell? Crazy. Well, speaking of crazy, Maude continues to taunt and traumatize Cordelia, feeding her full of doubt and, the worthless nothings as her life description, along with willing a cable down from the ceiling, because this bitch, ghosts have the telekinesis, and creating a noose that hoists Cordelia up by the neck to help stage the home's next suicide. Thank God Cordelia has friends, like, actually, because, Maude's like, you don't have any friends. Cordelia's starting to believe everything that Maude's telling her, though, with this moment, too. So that's where I find it kind of, like, fucked up. And I really find it messed up that if they didn't make it there, then Cordelia was totally about to die. Like, it, not just die,
Yes.
but the last thing that you're hearing is that no one cares about you and, like, they were happy to see you fail, because Cordelia resonates with this. It's harsh, but she's believing it because she already feels really bad about herself, and it clearly builds her empowerment for later. But, like, it's very horrific to see, like, leading up to a fucking staged hanging, like, of herself. I was like, oh my God. I was like, and this lady succeeded in doing this to other people, like other women, like, weekly
Yeah.
wigs alert.
Well, and that was an interesting thing I picked up on, is that she stopped all the activity when the knock on the door happened, when Angel came in with Doyle and they gave her the whole, like, housewarming cactus and all this other stuff. Initially, she had stopped all her activity when the knock happened. And I already started thinking, like, oh shit, is this one of those times where, like, Cordelia is going to seem crazy to everyone because she's going to keep trying to prove her point, and then nothing ever happens when other people are around. So when things started happening with them there, I was like, oh shit, this is a different kind of story. But I wonder if in the past that's what she did. So that way, by the time this person committed suicide, it wasn't a surprise because
Thinking they're
people were
kind
like,
of
well, that
going
bitch was
nuts or
losing it
something.
and hallucinating in her apartment all the time and talking about a
Yeah.
ghost, and she was
Yeah.
crazy. So, you know what I mean? And that's like, I don't know, that puts it in a weirder place because I'm like, damn, not only is she making these people like crazy because of the activity, but she's also mentally, like, really coming down on them, and, like, it almost seems like latching on to your real-time insecurity because is just doubling down on what Cordy's already
Yeah.
kind of going through, you know, in real time, so it's like she gets you by your weakest point and then drags you down further
Yeah.
kinda thing. I'm like, "That's a ruthless bitch."
Literally though. I think it's interesting to think about the fact too that maybe Maude like only has appeared to Cordelia out of the whole time. I think she's always whispering stuff to people and like letting them herself not
Mhm.
be seen, so that people are 10 times more scared of what's
Yeah.
occurring. Because you got to think about it once again. Cordelia kind of already has this knowledge. That woman's already kind of heard some of the stuff, like them getting her out of there and like all this other stuff, calling her back to the apartment, obviously as well. She knows that they know what's going on, so she has to kind of up the antics a little bit.
And she can tell that Cordy's not gonna react like other people
Hmm.
are, where we would have already grabbed our shit or as much as we could, and like that last bitch did, broke our lease and got the fuck out of there and left
Or
our
been
furniture,
driven
you know
freaking
what I mean?
crazy. I think it's interesting to say too, like, what if someone like me or you moved in there? There's someone that's like, I mean, I know we would have left, but like they would have had a harder time permeating our brain with these kind of issues because we don't most of the
I know,
times
I
we
would
give
have at
ourselves
least
grace.
I would have been like Cordelia, I'm like, "I'm about to go get some rituals, I'm about to get a
Well, there's
ritual
that.
kit, I'm about to
Yeah.
get a cleansing
Well,
kit, but we would have stayed there longer, I think, because we would have had other things we wanted
yeah.
to try
Well, not even
first,
just
you
us.
know?
I guess I'm kind of trying to relate it to like your average person that might not have a bad narrative about themselves. They literally are just so gassed up in life, having the best life ever. And then they come to live here at this place and this bitch is trying to tell them some stuff like that. I wonder if those are the people that kind of just moved out, like the last homeowners and stuff,
For sure.
whereas some people
I don't
died
even
and
think it had to
stuff.
get
Yeah.
there, you know? It's like you were saying, she's having to up her antics a lot because she's dealing with someone who clearly seems experienced and stuff that's, out of the norm, whereas, like, your average person is gonna do what all the other people did, which is they're gonna look like they committed suicide even though it was this bitch, or they're gonna move out and break their lease and leave all their stuff behind because they just wanna get so far away from this place, they don't care what
Yeah.
happened. Yeah.
So now that Cordelia is hanging by the noose, Maud's job is done and she disappears just as Angel kicks in the door, pulling Cordy down. I'm like, damn. Maud should have like flew him to the side so she could have hung there a couple more seconds. Like if she's really trying to like do this, you know what I mean? Like she could definitely hold a vampire back.
Totally.
Cordelia's not okay once down, but she is conscious at least, and crying now about the ghost and how they can't stop her. She's not herself, and Angel's trying to let her know about the sun and the role that she's playing in the ghost delusion, which is fun because that kind of mirrors like, you know, he said a little bit ago, like I've been kind of like possessed by spirits and stuff like I think he said that before a few episodes or something like that ago, but he made a callback basically to like the James Grace ghost episode in a certain way earlier. I just forgot to write it down. But that was about the ghost illusion. He's saying you're wrapped up in like playing out the part of this like type of thing. You know what I mean? Like it has to
Yeah.
go
Yeah,
full
yeah.
circle before we can actually do it. But you can actually, because you know he's talking about Cordelia is the one that can stop her. Cordelia is the one that can do it because she's got this kind of connection to the energy now, so she can definitely like, stand up and change the storyline versus like being the person that gets shot and dies versus how the roles played out with Buffy and Angel because of the way that it was able to change because of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Basically, Cordelia, you can make the fucking change. But, you know, she's unconvinced and continues to cry, basically blubber because she's not really crying. She's like, I can't do it. Like, yeah. And Angel begins to spell because he's like, all right, I'm fed up with this bitch. Doyle is over there, setting up the rocks and doing all the things to make whatever the ultra space circle thing that they're supposed to have. Eventually, the wind kicks up and the lights starting to flicker, your typical ghost activity. And the energy of the home starts to freak out over it because I wouldn't actually. If I'm like, oh, yeah, but they've had to exercise me, hold up. Let me make this the most complicated for them. Angel orders again for Cordelia to get the fuck up and do something, but also to get in the circle Doyle created to help them. But as Maude appears to her, she starts whispering more delusions into Cordelia's mind about her failure, and Cordelia doesn't believe that she can do anything. Angel shifts the spell work to Doyle as he desperately convinces Cordelia that she indeed can stop this. She can't let the spirit do this to her because, damn it, she's Cordelia Chase. She can't just lie there like a weakling, which is so important because he's like shaking her, basically giving her a reality check and reminding her kind of who she is, like his perception of who she is also. He's like, you're not a fucking weakling, you're fucking Cordelia, damn it. Like, and says her full name as well. Like, that's so important. Like, Cordelia's always like, I'm Cordelia Chase. It's not, I'm Cordelia. It's like, Cordelia Chase. That bitch is what that stands for. It's not Cordelia Chase, it's that bitch. I don't know. Either way, he's like screaming at her. He's like, get off your ass and be tough. And then she's sobbing some more that she can't. And then he notes specifically that she can be the biggest pain that he's ever seen. So do it. Like, he's like, I have all the faith in you because no, this is not true. 100% you can do this. They call everything a loss and head with Cordy for the door, only to be met by Griff and his backup. There's 2 guys he brought with him. He's like, this is enough. Aiming guns at them, having lied about their negotiated terms on Doyle living. Maude appears behind them, pissed the fuck off. This shit was actually so funny. She appears behind the ghost, like literally outside the door from him. And she's like, there's too many fucking people in my goddamn house. She didn't say that, but she's like, no more people. She's all mad because Cordelia's in here by herself. And now like there's a whole ass house party here. And she's like, oh my God. She's like, now I got 8 people to get the fuck out of here. God damn it. She's gonna go over to Griff and be like, you nasty skank with my son. And he's gonna be like, bitch, what the fuck you talking about? One of the guys flees as Angel takes on the other 2 along with Doyle. Maude helping them out, honestly, by sending those knives from a drawer over into the demon, which is very convenient, but also, nearly getting Doyle too. Thankfully, Angel's like, Doyle dug. Angel continues to fight as Cordelia is picked up in a stunning shot. I call it a stunning shot because like this the most ghost-like thing you could ever imagine. They have on like her on a dolly or something. She's getting pulled back and the room's closing in and the door shuts behind her. Like just the camera work right there is so fucking beautiful. It's so cool. It's got like an ethereal quality to it, even though it's just taking place in a basic ass apartment. In the room now with Maude, of course, she begins to berate Cordelia once more about her failures and destroying her home, which was so funny. Something I've got in my final slaves for later about that specifically. Cordelia whines and cries she's sorry as Maude calls her a stupid little bitch. These words triggering something inside Cordelia, though, as she looks up to Maude with a fierce grin, remembering, I'm a bitch. Maude tries to instruct her to make a fresh noose from her bedsheet so she can end her life. She's like, grab the bed sheets, make a noose. Okay. Yes, ma'am. But Cordelia rises to stand tall to Maude, who is now confused at this action. And she kind of backs up a little bit. She's like, what the fuck are you doing? I did not expect this. Get your ass back down on the floor. Get that. I told you, the noose. But she doesn't get all that because Cordelia delivers the iconic monologue that we all come to love. Of course, I'm going to put the whole clip in here because duh.
I'm not a sniveling, whiny little cry, Buffy. I'm the nastiest girl in Sunnydale history. I take crap from no one. You're going to make yourself a noose and put it around... Back off, Polygrip! You think you're bad? All mean and haunty? Picking on poor, pathetic Cordy? Well, get ready to haul your wrinkly, translucent ass out of this place, because, lady, the bitch is back.
So beautiful. But this is the part that always kind of gets me. The opening statement of this starts with, I'm not a sniffly, whiny little cry Buffy. Like, she's relating that Buffy's the one that's always crying about shit or like, over Angel or being dramatic or whatever like that. She's like, I'm the meanest, nastiest bitch in Sunnydale history. And then tells the fucking ghost off essentially with this statement. And I love how it ends with, because baby, the bitch is back. Like, so awesome. Like, she gets it. And I love it. Like, this moment was cool as fuck. What did you think of it?
Yeah, I love it. I think whatever you said about it earlier when we were first starting to talk about the episode, and it's like that moment that you get where her character starts almost feeling like it's beginning a new turn or it's being redefined. And not really redefined because we're used to Cordelia this way, but like redefined from where we've experienced for the last
it's still
4
redefinition.
episodes. Yeah. So I love this moment for her. I think that like we all strive to have a moment like this in life, especially from our lowest point to finally getting like our grip on life. And I just feel like this is so perfect for her because of the fact that it's not so normal. It's not like she's having this like exchange with a person in the street or a bully or something that like is so normal. She's just having this really powerful moment where it's like she's coming into her own again. She's realizing who she has always been, and that person has never really departed from her. She just hasn't channeled that energy.
Yeah, she needs
properly.
to reintegrate.
And all of that. Yeah, and all of that to say that she's doing it in the face of something that most of us as normal people would have never even gotten here to deal with it this far. We would be already hanging by our noose or out of it.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is just, it's such a triumphant moment for her, based on everything we've experienced for her the last few episodes, this episode in particular, where we keep getting that push and pull where she's like so close to getting something nice and it gets taken away and there's all these bullshit circumstances. So yeah, it's, I don't know, it's great to watch because you're not used to seeing her in the light that we've seen her in, so to kind of see her as how we're used to is like a breath of fresh air, you know? It's like watching Buffy the last couple episodes that we have too and having her moments throughout that. So yeah, I love it. I always love the energy for the
I think
badassery.
it's cool that she gets triggered by like being called a bitch at that too. Like how many times have you been like heated in a moment or like not even just in a low, just some kind of emotional situation, whether it be anger, sadness, or something like that. And somebody decides to call you a bitch and you go, oh, I can be a bitch. That's what this kind of gives
Mhm,
in that moment versus, you know, some people might
mhm.
not gain empowerment from that, or like it might make them feel more like they're going to suffer more or something like that, or like beaten down more. It just depends on context.
No, I consider that a
Exactly.
compliment
Most
always.
time when a woman gets called a bitch, she's like, "Oh yeah, like I have the ability to be a bitch. Like I got you, boo. Like here it comes."
Mhm.
So here it came. Maud attempts to call her bluff and expresses not taking words from trash seriously. Cordelia telling her off to get her ghost bags and get the fuck out of her house, which works to dispel the ghost in a burst of light. And I like that that take actually happens. Obviously, she's not gone. She didn't expel the ghost, but she got her off her back essentially. And this is something that happens with ghosts a lot of times, when, or any kind of entity trying to take your power from you. If you like claim, just like, I mean, if you say those words with conviction, that spirit knows you're channeling good energy and that you're protected and you're like basically casting it away from you because you're saying, no, I won't
Mhm.
stand for this versus being susceptible to it. So I really like that element. The inside storm subsides as Angel successfully breaks Griff's neck. Bye. Oh, almost clean off. Hereditary. Just so I can say I've said it since I haven't said it in a while. And awarding Cordelia whenever she comes out that she did it, which is true. She did. All the stuff stopped. They're like, oh, yeah, the haunting's over. Sort of. Angel offers she must have found her center. Yep, it's right inside of her. Goes over with Cordelia. Her eyes appear foggy white and she picks up a lamp, smashing its base into the wall, successfully doing what she said earlier in tearing it down. Revealing behind brick a petrified and tied up mummified skeleton's remains hidden within it. Maude appearing and gasping out in horror at the body in the wall when a flash of white light flashes us back to Maude back in the day, listening to the song from the radio from earlier as she patches up the wall with brick. Her son Dennis tied up inside, crying for his mother not to do this to him. Her expressing, look at what you're making me do, Dennis. How are you going to leave me for that streetwalker now, hmm? You're nothing without me. Like, no. Okay, before I even get to the end of this, because I got some stuff to say. When you saw her son tied up in there and the fact that she was boarding him up, how did that make you feel?
Oh my god.
The bait and switch.
Awful.
Like, this is the twist. I did not expect that. He never left.
Yeah,
He
no
never left.
way. Mm-mm, mm-mm. No, he never left. And the fact of the matter is, I can't stand the betrayal from parent to child because I'm so not natured like that. And I don't know if I could even stand on the soapbox if I didn't have my own child that I like protect with every part of my being. So I could not, I could not
So fucked
imagine.
up.
And not only that, but it's not like you're just like viciously murdering your son or something, or like this is a heated exchange that happened. You like you lost your shit in the heat of the moment and you like
No, this is
hit him and he hit his head and it
calculated.
was an accident. And he died slowly back there. He
Mhm.
suffocated. And you lived in that you were gonna live in that
She didn't smell
apartment?
shit. Well, it was closed out, but like, how did
She
they never
died right
smell him
after.
inside the fucking wall? But I mean, it's in
I
brick.
know, and
Like, I
that's
don't know. It's
another
a.
thing.
I mean, he's behind something. He's protected, and like this thing, the probably that's. I don't know. I feel like you would still smell it.
Or do you think like after she died from her heart attack and then they found her probably shortly
It
after
stayed
that, they
empty for
probably
a
like
while.
cleared her. Yeah, it may
Maybe,
have stayed
maybe,
empty for so long that
maybe.
like,
We don't have that
yeah.
context of information, but it's awful.
But I mean, he's also behind a wall, so maybe it's not
Yeah,
like we think it'll be because she really like also where'd she get them skills at?
she built that up. She
You
built
haven't
that.
built you been building
Remember, the
houses and shit?
apartment complex belongs to her. Her and her husband back in the day opened it up and built it. So, or she did. So
Mm-mm.
she laid every.
She's like, I'ma just add
She laid
another
added
wall.
the. Yep, she laid the brick to that whole entire building herself. So clearly, she knows how
That's
to build.
crazy.
Anyways, he begs her more and more as we clip to later in the day. Mods at or whenever, maybe a week. I don't know what the fuck is happening. Like, obviously, she's done with the brick, so I guess it's just later that night. She did, I guess, did this all in one night. But Mods adding the finishing layer of drywall to the exterior. Us hearing Dennis inside panicking, crying that he can't breathe and please to let him out. He'll be good. He won't leave her. Mom, please. Something about this. So I have one more sentence to read before I really go into my notes, though. But like, I start crying literally almost every single time I watch this episode. When I was writing this out physically, it was fucking with my head a little bit. Hearing, like you said, I'm not even a parent, but to hear him literally crying and panicking out of fear because he's locked in a dark place, he has to die this way. His mother is doing this. Someone that he trusted is doing this to him. And he's sitting there saying, I can't breathe anymore. We know his time is running short. To please let him out. He's fucked. Like, going back now saying I won't leave and all this other stuff, like, the way that the actor himself plays that, like, and I love the way when it clips off, when he says, Mom, please, the way that it echoes almost, the please, and then it cuts again to later as she's done, like, she's painted the wall, she's hanging that picture on it, and telling a now quiet, dead Dennis how this hurts me more than it hurts you, baby. Goodbye, Dennis. And tells him goodbye. She, collapses to the floor and has her heart attack. But, like I said, I've cried. Like, again, I haven't watched this episode in a while. But I was like, this is so fucking sad. Like, Dennis pulls us in, or at least me, like, I can speak for myself. Like you said, I have it written right here in my notes, and I love that you use this, that she betrayed him. Like, this is so fucked up. Like, especially with the twist reveal that we're thinking, like, they're telling us one thing, something actually so, it lets you know that some things that sometimes you just don't have the information for actually happened and occurred without, especially when there's no one to tell the story type stuff too. But like, it's just fucked up. I love the twist, but I can't get over hearing it's dark. Yeah, it's really fucked up. Like, it's right on par for this type of show. And I think that's another reason why I really like the episode, just because of what's happening in it. Like, it makes me feel something. And this is the only time we meet Dennis. You know what I mean? Like, or see him physically. And I care so much about him and his story. I hate this for him. I literally hate that so much for Dennis. I would never have wanted that to happen to me.
And then it just makes you wonder, like, I don't know. I have so many questions that are unanswered because of the fact that she died right after
she was probably stressed out in general. Like, she wore herself. I mean, obviously she's built another fucking.
Well, not really about that. Just like, you were gonna, if you didn't die, you were just gonna ordinarily be okay with living there your life, like knowing that you did that in that house and stay there. Like, I don't know.
It's given fucking what's his face. I just watched that show not long ago, back when it was airing. Freaking what's her face from Roseanne was playing the mom, and the Ed Gein story that they did, like the monster show or whatever, like they did with Jeffrey Dahmer and stuff like that. Like, it was like that, like you said, the helicopter mom that won't let her kid grow up, and especially when a woman comes in to threaten, like that whole element to the stories there, which is so interesting. This was taking place in the 50s, which I get it if it was just like, I'm assuming, I know I said her husband and her built it, but it said that she built this place. So I'm assuming her husband or man, whatever, his father left her high and dry with the boy, and this is all she knows. So she doesn't want to let him go. And that kind of makes sense, but that doesn't give way for you to be able to do what you just did here. Like, it's so fucked up. I can't say that enough.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
We move back into present day as Ghost Maude stands now cowering at the memory of what she's did. Light emanates from the remains of Dennis and passing through her to expel her finally from this realm, as she pleads in her, what we will call, not dying breath, that she did what she thought she was supposed to, and in the best version of sympathetic that she could. Like, honestly, she kind of, like, that, the fact that I say she appears cowering and she's like coddling herself, like, she's horrified again with the memory of kind of what she's done. Is, like I said, it's kind of like she's forgotten in a way, or she just lived with it for so long, not lived with it for so long. Like, she's been trapped right here with him, but clearly she's not as bothered, I don't think, by I think seeing what she's done has triggered her in this moment to, like, have her react to this way, because clearly she's been living here with Dennis. Dennis is in the wall. He's a ghost there too. So she got what she wanted. Him and her just been hanging out in this apartment for all these years. You know what I mean? That's why she's like, you're not getting my son whenever new people move in and stuff like that, because he's still there with her. She got what she wanted. No. I like the effect too of him, like his aura coming through her and like dispelling her. He's like, I'll take care of this, Cordelia. I got you. She's the fuck out of here. Over at Doyle's place, he places a new lock on his door for additional security, speaking with Angel on continuing to live like this. Angel affirming he will help him out, but also how he needs to know more about Doyle, his story, so they can, actually connect along, especially working alongside each other now, and like the help that Doyle's helping him do. Like, they need connection. And Doyle agrees with this, and that in time he will. Realizing the past doesn't ever seem to let us go. Cutting us over to our ending scene, finding Cordelia settled into her new home, coexisting with her new roommate Phantom Dennis on the phone with Aura, finally catching up now that she's not ashamed of who she was or intends to be. Even if that means still being a little petty and gossiping about the lesser nasty girls in Sunnydale, showing us that some of the past Cordelia still lingers and hasn't let her go. We fade to black, and here endeth the episode.
It was such a good
It was a
ending.
cute ending. Like I said, she's just chilling at her home and stuff. I love it. Like, I don't get what the fuck. Dennis is a fuck boy, like crazy, like in a good way, fuck boy, not like a fuckhead. Like, I'll say, because like he's over there sliding her Diet Dr. Pepper or whatever the fuck it was away from her, and she's like, Phantom Dennis, what do you? No, and he like slides it back.
It was
I was like,
so
she's just playing
funny.
around with her. He's like, bitch, what the fuck? And then he tries to cut on the TV, like he's gonna watch some TV, and she's like, Dennis, I'm on the phone. And then like she goes back to the phone. She's like, sorry, that was my roommate.
I,
What do you think about the fact that Cordelia lands with a fucking ghost as her roommate, though?
I mean, why not? You know what I mean? I feel like at least there's some sense of like company, even though it's not your average kind of company or your
Yeah.
normal kind of roommate. But at least it's also Cordelia, a person who would receive that kind of energy around well, as long as it's not threatening
Mhm.
like his mom.
Yeah, literally though. Like it's the ghost that you want to have is Casper, the friendly ghost, but it's Dennis.
I just love how the energy is giving like almost resorting back to like son and like little boy, because he's almost
playful.
is like he's bored, so he's like
Yeah,
fucking with her
yeah.
while she's like not being able to be attentive to whatever he's
Yeah.
doing, you know. So she's like, nah,
I like it. I think it's obviously perfect for Cordelia to have a ghost in her apartment, and like for this to be an element in the show. And to give you your spoiler that you asked at the beginning, yes, he becomes a little thing that this is where Cordelia lives. When we,
So this is her. This
yes,
is
I'm
her
not saying every
roommate.
episode when we see at the apartment he's floating something or doing something, but there are times when he pops up in the right times to do something to where we say, oh, Phantom Dennis is still around. So
Okay, good.
he's her
I
roommate.
like that. I kind of like
Me
that
too.
for her.
All right. What did you say at the beginning? You were like, I bet the theme's a metaphor in this one is good. Or like, you got some things to say about this.
Yeah.
Well, that being said, Room with a View is really about Cordelia confronting the distance between who she used to be and who she's trying to become. Early in the episode, she's embarrassed by her situation. She's living in a rundown apartment, struggling financially, and hiding from old friends because she doesn't want them to see how far she's fallen from the life that she had in high school. So when she finds this beautiful apartment that feels like something the old Cordelia would live in, it represents more than just a place to stay. To her, it's proof that maybe she hasn't fallen as far as she thinks. The haunting itself becomes a metaphor for that idea. Maude Pearson is essentially a ghost of the past who refuses to move on. Someone so obsessed with control that she destroys her own son to keep things the way she wants them. That mindset mirrors the way Cordelia is still haunted by who she used to be, so she believes that the hardships she's facing now are some kind of punishment for the way she treated people back in high school. What's interesting in this episode is that it doesn't punish Cordelia for that past. Instead, it shows her growth. When Maude attacks her emotionally, trying to break her down and convince her she's worthless, Cordelia eventually snaps back and fights for herself. That moment is important because it shows that the old Cordelia, the girl who survived Sunnydale High and never backed down from a fight, is still there. The difference now is that she's using the strength to protect herself and the people around her rather than to tear others down. By the end of the episode, Cordelia finally gets the apartment that she's wanted, but it comes with an unexpected roommate. That's kind of the final metaphor of the story. Cordelia isn't escaping her past or pretending it never happened. Instead, she's learning to live with it in a healthier way moving forward, while still carrying the experiences that have shaped her. And in a lot of ways, that's the beginning of the Cordelia chase we're going to see grow throughout Angel. If we want to get extra, though, I see Maude kind of as a representation on how parents disable their children from growing up, since the metaphor, like we've seen that theme explored on Buffy for sure, but like it's a common Buffyverse kind of thing. Like I said in the beginning, with Cordelia still having like her journey towards adulthood, I think it's very interesting to kind of put in those elements of like the parent kind of keeping their kids held back, because we haven't really discussed that so much. We've talked about people being held back by certain instances in life that force them to not be able to grow up, whether that's by external or their own personal choices and such. And it's kind of like what you were saying, like helicopter parenting being such a big deal that you're now not letting your kid grow up or like letting them detach from you, letting them leave the nest type thing, like in any way, shape, or form. Angel fun facts. Cordelia's friend Aura, I already told you about, so we're going to skip that one. I mentioned earlier, obviously, Cordelia's diploma that they brought back in this episode. Somebody wrote that if you go upon a closer examination of the diploma, you can actually see Snyder's name written under principal, like on it, like to the detail, like, and there's a blank spot for the signature of the mayor of Sunnydale, but he didn't get a chance to sign it, I guess, because, he ascended into a demon and tried to eat the students, which I thought was dumb, because if they're
He probably lost his job as mayor
Well,
also.
I guess he and this is why I'm bringing it up for that, because I'm like, well, they were all rolled up and ready to go. Everybody got their diploma clearly. I was like, did he just receive all these papers and then just send them out and be like, yeah, I signed them, and then he really didn't, or he got his workers to fold them up. Mr. Trick folded them up.
No, that was the one way he was gonna fuck them over last. He was like, well, they don't count if they're not signed.
Literally.
So I'm not gonna sign.
I never thought we'd be talking about Mayor Richard Wilkins III again in this context. Cordelia describes her apartment's smell of violets and aspercream, which was a brand of pain relief creams, obviously, for old people. The way she says that, I thought was so funny. Cordelia calls Maude Polygrip, which is a brand of denture adhesives. Back off, Polygrip. Cordelia mentions needing a dead Patrick Swayze, a reference to the actor's title role in the 1990 film Ghost, which was kind of fucked up because she's like, why isn't Patrick Swayze dead when you need him type thing? And when you hear it today, you're like, oh, he is dead. He died from cancer. Cool. That doesn't age well at all. But at the times, it makes sense. But you got to think about the fact that these people are going to die one day and people might still be watching the show. Some stuff doesn't stay relevant or rich to that extent,
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm starting to realize that the 90s was a lot more lax. Also,
everything before that, apparently, except the 50s.
Yeah, probably.
The
the 50s, where you can't dare have a fiance.
70s to early 2000s is where it's at, apparently.
That's where it's at, but also where
Yes.
it's not, depending on how you want to live your life, because it was chaos, it seems. But yeah, I think that they didn't hold back quite as much, or they considered more, like you were saying, the aging of things. And I think that people do that a little bit more
Yeah.
now, where it's
There's some
we're not gonna be
awareness
saying
there
some
now. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's gonna be referencing where's a dead so and so, as far as a
Maybe,
celebrity that's
yeah.
alive. Where's a dead
It
Taylor
takes
Swift?
it
when
takes
you
a
need
certain
one.
person, because I'm sure there's still writers out there and stuff like that put certain things like that, and I get it, contextual to the time. I was actually just listening to another podcast cover Scary Movie 2 or something the other day while I was at work, and they were talking about some of the jokes that are in there. Not that they're they hit weird or in a weird way. It's just that they don't make sense anymore, because the stuff that they were making cracks on in the movie, they're well, that was something that was happening in 99, but it wasn't some big thing. But people today are going to have to go Google that because they're not going to get it. But people at the times are
That's true.
not something like OJ or something like that the show was done, where it carries on to where if they say something about OJ, everybody's going to be like, oh yeah, I remember hearing about that. Even possibly some kids, maybe not all of Gen Z, but a lot of people know about that because it's kind of pop culture or public knowledge, this big event that went on, these big popular names and instances they went on.
Yeah. I guess what shocks me more is that they use his actual name as an actor, as opposed to being referencing the character or referencing a different name, and giving his full actual name as a real person. Because usually when you're referencing if so and so that say fucking Jim Carrey played a ghost, you're probably gonna pull out his name from that movie. Whatever his character's name is, where's dead fucking
Why
whatever
wouldn't they
his
just
name
say
is,
where's Patrick Swayze when you need him? Just in general, I'm surprised that she said it that way, but I also don't know because I haven't. Which, fun fact, if guys you have seen it and you want to listen to some content, I'm pretty sure Prophecy Girls just did a bonus episode where they released their review and recap of the movie Ghost. Unironically, we're talking about this, we're in sync with them. I'm gonna have to message Steph and tell her that. Anyways, I have never actually watched that movie through. I've seen some scenes from it, the whole clay shaping thing where they're behind each other and stuff and doing all that. I think that's a part of it, but wait, Patrick. Oh, why isn't Patrick Swayze dead? He's dead in the movie. Demi Moore moves into the apartment and falls in love with him, isn't it? He's the ghost in the house. Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought for some reason in my mind Demi Moore was the ghost. Her hair is cute in that movie. Which is so funny.
But obviously his name in the movie is not Patrick Swayze.
Yeah,
So I'm just why wouldn't they just call back to
name
his
in the
actual
movie or something?
character's name?
Patrick Swayze from
Yeah.
Ghost or something, his character. Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
This is totally off topic in a way, but it's also centered around the movie Ghost. You remember whenever on Friends, Monica asked Phoebe to cut her hair like Demi?
Sorry, Phoebe, it's just a little shorter than what we had discussed.
Would you relax? I know what I am doing. This is how he wears it.
Who wears it?
Demi Moore.
Demi Moore is not a he.
Well, he was a he in Arthur and in 10.
That's Dudley Moore. I said I wanted it like Demi Moore.
I'm sorry. Which one is Demi Moore?
She's the actress. There was a disclosure, indecent proposal, ghost.
Oh, she's got gorgeous hair.
Her head's all hacked up and shit.
It looks nothing like that. I thought for some reason you were about to be like, do you remember that episode from Friends where Phoebe's massaging her old lady client and the lady dies on the table and her spirit goes inside of her
For like
body?
days. Yeah. No, but that could have been the same thing.
I know, and then she departs her Phoebe's body at the lesbian wedding, and she's like, now I've seen everything or whatever.
Well, what we haven't seen is our final slay, so let's get into it.
Final slays.
I gotta think of one. I didn't write one down. I was about to say
Final slays, Patrick Swayze.
All right, cool. Cool.
Dennis on the wall.
I'm just leaving all your stuff in there. It'll make sense. What did you have for quotes this episode?
I
have a
few.
lot. I have like 7 or 8.
You do. I probably will have at least 1 or 2 of those. So I'm not going to say all.
No, say all
of mine. So you're
you
left
can say
with
all of them.
My first one was Angel talking about the Cordettes when he said it's like the Soviet secret police if they cared a lot about shoes. Cordy continuously calling herself a girl from the projects, which is so not like
She was trying to let y'all know she's got
another
it rough.
not appropriate thing. Cordy to Doyle saying she looks good, and she says, I wouldn't know. This man doesn't own a mirror. Would it kill him to see himself? Newsflash, he cannot. And then we already touched base on this while it was happening, but when the blood writing was happening and it said die, and she's like, maybe it's not done yet. Maybe it says diet.
A little judgmental, but hey. It's just like I can work with that. So my first one is Cordelia. Whenever she's like, I actually smell me. I never smell. I didn't know I could. Again, Cordelia, before her shower, asking Angel, do you have mousse? Of course you do. Like, she gave it a pause and she's like, I know you do. Never mind. Because clearly he does his hair. I don't know how without a mirror, but whatever. Cordelia later doubling down on how at some point Angel, in fact, was the one who got the peanut butter in his bed. And Angel just goes like, I don't eat. Like, whenever he's walking by, I was like, bitch, shut the fuck up right now. She's swearing. She's like, you did that. And he's like, I literally drink blood. What are you talking about, Cordelia? Like, there's no sense at all. Like, she knows she did that shit. Come on, girl. Accountability. Just go wipe it up. Like, the way she tries to be like, I don't think so. Okay, I'm done. I'm over it. I was flabbergasted. I had to pause to come down here to the quote section and write that shit. I had one from Doyle whenever, after Cordelia asked rhetorically if he's ever seen anything more beautiful whenever they first get to the apartment. And him saying, nope, never. And you look at him and he's smiling from behind her whenever he says it, but he's talking about like, nope, never, because you're the thing I've seen the most beautiful right now. I was like, oh, he loves seeing her happy. And he knows that he did this initially before he finds out that he kind of did this. And then we have Griff whenever he was like, you let me go. And Angel's like, no, I'm letting you up. I was like, oh. I have 3 more. After Cordelia referencing the old lady smell like violets and Aspercream, and Doyle saying they didn't find her body for 3 weeks. I don't think it was violets there in the end, I'm thinking. It's like shit. But that's also, now that I think about that context, that's probably like the smell that was in there, they both were rotting at the same time. So they probably smelt her and got her out of there, and then put the, like you said, kind of quarantine the place off for a bit and then let people move in. So eventually the smell just kind of lingered. They put stuff in there to help absorb out smells and stuff like that. If that was 3 weeks later, gross. Cordelia, after Doyle says, I know a guy in Koreatown to get the difficult ingredients for the spell. And Cordy goes, ooh, another guy of yours. Tell me, is this the same guy that helped find my poltergeist delicious apartment? And then my final one is Maude, when the one guy shoots her towel around the fireplace, clearly aiming at her, but obviously she's a ghost, so the bullet strikes and goes right through her. And she looks back at her fucking broken ass, like, I love the ornate, like, frame of tile that's around the fireplace. And she looks back at him, she goes, you broke it. Like, it's just so comical. She's like, these motherfuckers are tearing up my house. Who's your champion this episode?
Cordelia.
Why?
Because she's a badass.
At the end.
I mean, kind of. I feel like, again, we've touched base on this a few times, but she handles herself way more accordingly, I think, than I would. A cordy. But yeah, I wouldn't react that way if I was met with the same circumstances, like the first initial few days in a new apartment. Like, I'd be calling ghost hunters, I'd be saging the place, and then I'd be getting the fuck out of there if nothing helped, which clearly it wouldn't have. So I give it to her for just being so resilient on her desire to have this apartment to start off with, to even consider all of the chaos that came with getting the energy out of the
Right.
apartment. And then of course, like her awesome moment at the end where she's just triumphant as hell.
Nice.
So gotta give it to Cordy.
I didn't give it to Cordy for champion this episode. I gave it to Angel for putting up with Cordelia and Doyle's shit. But that was just
True
because
that.
obviously Cordelia is technically like, duh. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
I got the Wiggins this episode clearly from the Roaches, just to say. Especially, specifically, and this kind of ties back to a quote, Cordelia saying to Angel, I wonder how many stored in that bag that Angel's holding. Okay. But obviously, I definitely, and I'm sure you would agree, have to say Maude and the way she wouldn't let her son grow up and leave her and the selfish nature of herself and all this helicopter bullshit. That was what gave me the Wiggins.
Yes, fully agree with that. And then the only one that I had that was different was the creepy landlord that was trying to assure her she would be safe and, sound to sleep at night, knowing that he was right across the hall with a key to her
I'm
door.
not that nice. I'm not that
Like-
nice. I would let him be like, no, sir, I'm sorry. Clearly not. Yeah, you look, no.
I'm like, do you by chance have like someone else who can give these tours for you? Because I'm afraid that you're never going to rent this place out if it's
literally.
if
Would
it's
you like me to give the tours? Be like, you need to calm down, Mr. Trigger.
Do you have other apartments here you need to rent? Because if you give me this one for free, I'll get the rest of them rented out for you. But you're not going to make that happen on your own. I promise.
Mr. Trigger.
This building will be
Mr.
empty.
Trigger. Because his name was Mr. Trigger. They always are. I had to Google what that was called, a person that owns a complex or operates it and stuff. I didn't know they were called a superintendent of the facility. That flayed moment, what flayed for you?
Obviously the end more so than anything where Cordelia gets the ghost problem resolved and she is her bitchy self that we've been used to seeing before she came to LA. So that overall, but also there was just like little other ones like freaking Angel snapping that dude's neck, and before that threatening him and really being like, hey, I'm gonna kill you, and then in fact doing so later. So yeah, that was another one.
Literally. Mine were, well, I actually just wrote down one. I said mine. Mine was naked daddy Angel struggling with Cordelia's bags in the towel, dripping water all slippery. Because that slayed for me, getting to see him like that. And mostly because I had to choose something completely opposite of Cordelia being like, baby, the bitch is back. Like, obviously that slays. Duh. Cordelia slayed this episode. All right, Slayer at predictions. Our next episode of Angel is entitled Sense and Sensitivity. I'm going to go ahead and say, too, I'm not too familiar with this episode. I was even, like, going on the Google to double-check, like, the plot of it, and I was like, I never pay attention. I never pay attention to this episode. This is just one of those that I'm going to pay attention to it, obviously, this time, so it would be nice to take it in. But it's not one that, like, if somebody said, what is this episode about? I was like, I don't even remember. I had to go Google, like, what it was about, because I haven't started on it yet or anything. I know.
Is it centered around a certain character?
Yes, kind of. It involves her a lot more. We get to see Kate and follow a little bit and what, like, something's going on that, because that's what I saw on Google. I was like, oh.
Okay, well, we'll say less, because then that kind of explains everything. If it's about her, I feel like those two words might be about her, because I feel like she has sense, and we haven't really seen all of her sensitivity, but we know she's got them because she's a human
maybe.
being.
We know she's got some senses, possibly. Maybe no one has sense this episode. I don't fucking know, because like I said, I'm not too familiar with the episode. So...
we're both.
We literally are both in an interesting position. I'm sure I'll remember stuff as I start to watch it, but we'll see. All right, you guys. Thanks for listening to our coverage of Room with a View, RMWAVU. Let us know if this is a fave Cordelia-centric episode / Angel episode of yours. Do you like the arc we're getting from Cordelia here and somewhat furthering of her character? Are you devastated at what Maude did to Dennis? Would you live in Cordelia's apartment? Share your thoughts. We will be back next week to get into Buffy, episode Wild at Heart, an episode I know you all will be dying to hear, and I cannot wait to get to it. So we'll catch you guys then.
No. Angel, and how could you? What? Come on, you know I was crazy about her, and I was wearing her down, too. But no, handsome, brooding vampire guy has to swoop in, all sensitive mouth and overhanging forehead. How about leaving some scraps for the homely-looking fellas who don't turn evil when they get some?
Cordelia stayed over because something's wrong with her place. I was on the sofa.
Oh, That's okay, I suppose.
Angel, at some point in recent history, you got peanut butter on the bed. And it's gross. I think you're gonna have to change the sheets.
I don't eat.
Well, then I don't even want to know how it got there.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Angel on Revamped. Be sure to join us next week for a new episode release as we continue the fight for redemption. We would love to hear from you, so share your thoughts and perspectives on this or previous week's episodes by following us on Instagram and sending us a DM at revamped_rewatch podcast, or by emailing us at revampedrewatchpod@gmail.com.
And if you're interested in a world left behind, check out my show, Echoes of Elsewhere, an urban exploration podcast where I uncover the hidden mysteries of forgotten places, interview other explorers, and share with you my tips and tricks of the trade. Subscribe and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Until next time, remember, if nothing we do matters,
Then all that matters is what we do.
This podcast is dedicated to the Buffyverse, to its fans, and my sister, Tiffany Dawn Pearson.